Hey guys, welcome to another stream of a couple of Geeks Talk. Here with my co-host Pika.
Hey.
And today we're generally going to just shoot the shit, talk about comics, talk about some of the comic adaptation, talk about some of his videos about the adaptations and all that. Feels kind of fitting because I've been going back over it. I always like to have videos playing in the background, and a lot of times it's usually with the episodes me and Pika. There's something about our discussions I really like listening to because felt like we had a lot, well, obviously part of the reason why we started the show. You and I've had a lot of fun and a lot of your reactions. I always like your reactions to a lot of stuff we go over. And just stuff like the with Green Lantern, for example, just going on about how we went from Green Lantern Emerald Dawn to the Secret Origins, and how it's a case of clearly we like one over the other for the obvious reasons.
Yeah, mostly Sinestro.
Mostly Sinestro. It's so funny how it's Jeff Johns and Sinestro and Black Adam. You know, have you noticed
and
that with those two?
Also Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash. Or Zoom. Wait a minute. Reverse Flash or or Zoom.
Professor Zoom.
That one, because I'm thinking about the other one he created. The just reverse.
Okay, just Zoom.
Just
in that sense.
Yeah, because his Reverse Flash, I think he did good. I think Williamson did better.
One more.
Oh, no, Wade did better than all of them, given what we went over with Return of Barry Allen.
Okay, that in that sense, yeah, with the Return of Barry Allen story.
With Eobard, yeah. No, Jeff is better with Hunter. Hunter Zolomon.
Yeah.
Boy, what's a weirder name? Hunter Zolomon or Eobard Thawne?
It's weird considering how Hunter Zolomon is supposed to be a modern era name.
Yeah. At least Eobard, you say he's from the future.
Yeah. Again, Hunter is technically, okay, it is a first name that some people have. Yeah. And Solomon is...
Yeah,
okay,
it's the Zolomon part.
Yeah, it's the way how those two names are mixed together that makes it kind of... It's weird, but it's supposed to be a normal.
Okay, but Eobard, Thawne, both of those names are not modern names.
Yeah, or Thawne could... it has been in the general zeitgeist in long enough that it could be normalized as a normal name.
True.
Eobard, on the other hand, that's not one name.
No, Eobard. What kind of name is Eobard? The quote, Batman.
Yeah, Thomas Wayne, yeah.
Yep, what kind of name is Eobard? I just love that. But, but yeah, I mean, we've gone over so many. I still remember the first time I ever helped you out was with Batman Red and with Superman Red Sun.
No, that you went through that with someone else.
No. You helped with
what? Yeah, you helped with the because I put out a tweet to ask if there were pros and cons to talk about it,
and I gave you some very good ones there because I feel like that's one of those books where I really put a lot of thought in when I read it. You know what I mean? Like, because as I look over it, it's like, wait, because I'm reading it. Then I realized it's a prime example of Superman is truly Superman. Not this. It's one of my problems with Injustice. Doesn't feel like, even at it before he went nuts, like Superman really. At least that was year zero. Year showed no.
Not even just 0 year, because even in year 1 they had to bring up some establishing retcons to his before falling about like that blanket story that Ma Kent told Lex Luthor about how and
just stuff like that just made clear this was not a good Superman. But with Red Sun, no, he is true blue Superman. Mark Millar is true blue Superman. You know, all the ideals, just the wrong upbringing.
Yo, and in the sense also that he went over, did a good job, but didn't actually tell anyone to do to be better. He actually just something about the animated movie. If we go by that, there's the whole when with the Sputnik 2 incident, he went there, he stopped it from falling, landed it, and just and helped stopped the globe of Daily Planet from falling on the civilians, and then he left without saying anything. And in the movie, he stopped to make a speech.
I get it for simplicity in the movie. I get it, but it loses so much of the impact. And the fact that he and Lois only met twice. When you really think about it, they've only met twice.
Yeah, it was
the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
They never met any other point in their entire lives.
Yeah, the first time when they didn't actually speak, and then when she was the first lady to President Lex Luthor, and they delivered the letter that.
Why would you put that? Is still one of the best. That is ingenious. Lex is right. Like, why don't you just put the entire city in a bottle? That perfectly sums up communism's faults.
Yeah.
Why don't you just put it all in a bottle if you really want to control everything?
And Ben is mighty and the sword.
Yep. But yeah, we have that one. And then the first time I ever we did stuff together was Gossip by Gaslight. And I gotta say, both that and Red Sun show the polar opposites of the problems. Like in Red Sun's case, you have maybe a little too much to put in. Let's be honest. You would have to trim some stuff out for Red Sun.
Yeah, in the sense that
like cutting out the Green Lantern, like all the detail about Hal, perfectly fine. You do not need all that detail for Hal.
Yeah, that's what kind of sense. You could end up with twins who were separated at birth, and that kind of sense.
Yeah.
But the cutting out the whole time paradox, that is
I think that would have confused people.
It's a give and take kind of situation.
Yeah. In fact, you do know that was tacked on ending after a suggestion, right?
Yeah, and I specifically, and I even had to go and look up that letter from online.
Yeah, because you look at that and it's like, wait, but it makes sense when you realize he's only had the one real weakness: red light, solar energy.
Yeah, kryptonite was never shown.
Yeah.
Unless you count whatever Brainiac was simulating.
Yeah, whatever that was. But and also the fact the movie had to say, "You never asked." What?
Yeah, that's the one whole thing that why would Brainiac even have a function to turn them back to normal?
He wouldn't. Millar perfectly summed that up. He wouldn't.
Yeah.
And at least stuff like Jeff Johns' story and Superman Brainiac made it clear his ship was keeping it small. That makes sense.
Yeah, that made better sense in that case.
But at least once you disconnect it, if it blew up before it was disconnected, sorry, it's gone. But
and all those worlds that were in the ship also.
It's always up in the air. Always up in the air. But then of course you have the Wonder Woman. Of course she's a lesbian. That's how I describe it. That's how I always describe it. Of course she's a lesbian. Why wouldn't she be?
Something that Jared and the Super Wonder co-host that he has, they brought up that those other women that she grew up with are technically her aunts.
Don't remind me. And yet some versions of it she's still in a relationship, like in Wonder Woman Earth 1. Well, to be fair, they're not literally ants though.
Well, like not literally, but
they're metaphorical ants, but still, yeah.
And if we go by the values dissonance of the ancient Greece, then it's a black and white issue. Or gray and gray issue.
But still, though, that just felt like it totally ruined the character in there. But now, if you go to Gossip by Gaslight, that they didn't have much to work with. They really didn't. Even if they added stuff from Masters of the Future, there wasn't a whole lot, so they had to expand stuff and rework it all.
Someone commented onto my video when I made it that they could have kept the Jacob Packer still as as Jack the Ripper, and then have it revealed that Jacob Packer was some other name that he took later in life, and it would have been Zaz.
Ooh, Zaz would have been good, but I gotta say the twist was Gordon was not a bad one.
It wasn't bad, but it was kind of.
Oh no! But it took advantage of the Elseworld, is what I say.
Okay, it took that. Yeah, that.
And I'll be honest, if Brian Augustine was given a few more rewrites, I think he could have done Gordon.
Maybe.
Like, it sounds like something you could have done in an Elseworld setting, is what I'm saying.
Probably. There could also be some more red herrings if we could have also stretched it out.
Yep.
Well, ultimately, Gordon was basically turned into a Stieg Larsson character.
True, that's true. But again, though, his
Stieg Larsson's Millennium Trilogy character.
Hey, Katie, how you doing? Katie did channel. Yep. Hey. But yeah, and then also the Vampire Trilogy. Oh, that was an interesting one to go over.
Yes. As a character study, it was a good fall from Grey story, and also it kind of shows that not everything needs to have a happy ending. Sometimes a bittersweet ending also works.
Only the first volume had a happy ending. Only the first part. Yeah, the other two both got worse and worse endings.
Or actually, the third one, I think it had a bittersweet.
Bittersweet, yeah. But the second one was definitely a downer ending.
Yes.
He saved the day, only to be damned anyway.
Something Yoko Taro-ish.
Yep. I'm doing well, Katie. I'm doing well. Sorry if you don't see me around on Tony's channel, but I'm just not interested in the topics there anymore. Sorry, just want to always have more fun with it, but it's good to see you again. But yeah, obviously, I'm just loading up the list where you and I've gone over things just so I can double. We've got over so many. I want to make sure I got it right. Oh yeah, what's so funny?
Oh yes,
that and Under the Red Hood are two peas in a pod adaptations.
Yeah.
Expanding what was there, reworking. They're like the director's cut versions.
Yeah, it was good in a sense that they actually
the original creators.
It was so funny that it was given some stretching out and given some more angles, and not to mention characterization to the other members of the elite.
Yep, definitely. Something that you'd never really had in the comic. Yeah. And with Under the Red Hood, I think that that one is not as good as of a director's cut as What's So Funny. The fact though, it still did so much, so good, sales wise.
Yeah, something I actually want to still think about when going over both stories, that both stories have imperfections.
Yes.
But somewhere in the middle, there is the best possible version of the story, and something that I think the New 52 tried to put.
I know.
Try to balance out in a.
Exactly. Yeah. They try to find a balance, and but again, Under the Red Hood, though, it became one of their biggest hits. We can't deny that.
Yes. If only they had somewhat they had the same energy when doing the 10-year anniversary with the death of
that was just a cheap thing. But and of course, us just in general was the deaths in the family, which I get what they were going for. And let's be honest, it was them doing one of the anthology things. They just went a little bit more one step beyond what they would do for the other anthology DVD Blu-rays, but not enough.
Yeah, those anthologies that they were trying to also set in the Tomorrowverse.
Yeah. And seriously, Bat Boy, that ending, what the hell? And then Batman Hush.
Ooh.
That one is rough.
Yeah. The fact that it has to be set in the DC animated original movie universe, that was a grudge.
Yep, but I would say it still felt more like still like an adaptation than Crisis did.
Yeah, in that sense,
But
it actually
Long
started
Halloween,
from the same place.
Yep.
And actually, it probably did like 2/3 of the job right.
And I can tell you, Long Halloween is going to be even closer because it has the advantage of it's the start of the Tomorrowverse. It's the first Batman one, so they have no lore the dog pile on them.
True.
I did like that. I did like that. That when you realize that, you realize, oh, dog, there's no lore the dog pile on this thing.
Yo.
Oh boy, us going over Lost Days. That's still one of our best moments, if you ask me.
Yo.
It's still like, wait, holy shit, this doesn't make sense. That's still one of the best, and I still love your reaction. And like, it just dawned on me. How can this be before Hush? And say Rach is dead when it is before Hush, when Rach was still alive.
Hey.
That is still one of. I gotta make a short of that. I have gotta make a short of that because that is still one of our best moments.
Yeah.
That is still right up there of all my reactions in this show. That has to be one of the best because it's just that dawning on me, that realization. Like, wait a second.
The whole.
How? But but again, no. Back to with the adaptations because we've gone over other stuff, but Crisis, of course. Was that trilogy now done up? I like to give my thoughts on the trilogy here in a public setting. On its own, it's not a bad project. If you cut out trying to compare it to the original, it's a decent grand finale. Given all the budget, given everything, the limitation they had, let's be honest, this could have been a hell of a lot worse. I'm just saying, if you're not judging it as an adaptation, if you're just judging it as movies.
Just movies, maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of it still feels kind of like it overcumbered itself with needed to have all that filler, probably cannibalized from movies that never got made, and then being
that I will say
be the first half of the first movie.
I'll say
so the actual crisis doesn't start until halfway.
I would say though, it is in that regard, Apocalypse War handled that a lot better. Cannibalizing their plot points.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say this though: Apocalypse War is way better than the Crisis trilogy.
In retrospect, it's pretty much
depressing. It is. It still felt like a good send off.
Yeah, in that sense it does. I remember when I first saw it sometime when it did, and I was. I just
want to say quickly, but as an adaptation, Crisis is one of the worst. In the long run, it is one of the worst adaptations because it's not. Now, how does it compare to the Arrowverse version? That is hard to say. That is very hard to say.
Some of the things that you can say that Arrowverse was mostly it had to balance it out with the shows and the characters that it had, and then when it was missing some characters, it just made them up and brought them in.
To be fair, so did this. Remember, they could not make that many more new characters. That's why they introduced some. That's part of the reason why they did Warworld. Was to introduce elements there with that budget so they can save off on money for the Crisis. With that in mind, it's a miracle that Crisis ended up the way it did.
Yeah.
It's
also kind of the mess up they also did with when they wanted to have it be a swan song to Kevin Conroy and be the last time.
Oh yeah,
Mark Hamill
they
was the
scrolled,
Joker.
and I can confirm that. But that fix is only in the Amazon version. Not even they have not updated it anywhere else.
Yeah.
I bet you Mark's pissed. You want to bet he's pissed? He won't. He probably not going to say anything, but deep down he was pissed.
Had to be.
But yeah, now I still think one of the best videos we did, the Death, Funeral, and Return. Yeah, me helping you out, and then on your end, there's still some of the best. And I really think that's the most influential I have been on your videos, I think, was that trilogy.
Yeah, it was very good. The narration for at the end of the story commentary in the Death video, that's held.
I really liked my delivery of that. And the Bibbo monologue. The fact that you did both mine and the show and the video.
Yeah, mostly in the comparing the comic version and what was in the movie. Although if you it's got Roughneck mixed with Red.
I know. I don't know why I did that. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I flubbed up other words. Like when I was doing the wrestler, I said a few, like I said Mayor Mayhem when it's Major Mayhem. But yeah, and as far as but the fact that I'm the one that influenced, obviously convinced you to do Funeral separate because it deserved it.
Yeah,
it really deserved it because, but only with the comics. You look anywhere else, you would always think the Funeral, skip it. Who needs it? But no, you go over the comics. But at the same time, you can understand, like you said, you can understand why people skip it. Because it's the advantage of a comic that you can't get anywhere else. You can have more enough time lingering on it without people thinking like, can we move along?
Hey,
you'd have to make a trilogy, and I don't think you can do a Funeral as its own movie. Not really.
Something I looked up into when I did what I suggested is that they could have maybe redone the 2007 movie as a two-parter also, so that because the Death of Superman is basically a prolonged fight sequence, half of the movie could have been that fight and Superman dies halfway. Have the rest of the movie be the funeral and leave it, and then have the cliffhanger be. Or cliffhanger climax be Parkins near-death experience, and then Lois coming back from after that, and then it'd be the sightings of the other Superman.
But then, given that the 2007 movie, now you realize that the Sandbox series, does that really apply as much?
Well, that movie, I didn't say that movie should have been done that. It would have been a remake.
A remake. Basically, in other words, a better way of simplifying it, just adapt it without tying it into the Camuverse.
Yeah.
That's a better way of putting it. That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, and that way they could have also utilized the other DC characters by saying that these are not the same movie universe characters. These are just the same characters that exist in this version of the DC universe.
Like when they would do Justice League versus the Fatal Five while the Camo was still going on. You know, and they did, or the Harley one, they were able to do that, but still, though, I still feel, though, looking back, comparing it to all the others, I would judge both the Death and Return, and originally I used to say the 2007 version was the better one, not as much anymore. Where do you stand? Would you still say the duology is better, or do you think the 2007 is better or would you say they're both equally bad?
Performance-wise, it was. I think the 2007 version was better with the voice actors.
But
when it comes to the
and
Hayes especially, but when it comes to some changes and streamlining with the duality does works somewhat better, especially with the replacements that came was spawned from Superman's death, and then also with the way how the 2007 movie ended, they have Superman just publicly kisses Lois to convince her that
I
he's the
know.
real deal in front of multiple witnesses.
Yeah.
Then in private reveals to her that she is
Yeah, like you said, there's no way they can have a relationship now. They did, but it only works when you look at this as a standalone, not leading into anything. I'm sure they would have ended it differently if this was meant to lead into more.
Well, there was the whole. I don't know even if they wasn't supposed to lead into more than. What was that final scene with Luthor's monologue supposed to be?
I think it's just meant to. Well, you do. Here's the thing. Here's something you got to realize about this. They've been wanting to get Monsters for a long time to be involved, as Lex Luthor. They've been wanting that for a long time. So most of that intro and outro monologue was just so they can milk Old's words for having him involved.
Book ending.
So it doesn't really matter what he was saying. It was just to enjoy having him on board. Then they brought him back for DC Universe Online, where he did a much better job.
Yeah, that was much better.
Way better, but different Lex too.
Yeah, different Lex and different kind of, but a better performance.
Definitely, much better performance. But and I gotta say, because I've been a very while since I've rewatched the duology, that stuff with, and here's the big question to ask: Cyborg Superman's performance or the clone Superman's performance? That's hard.
Yeah, that's hard because
that whole speech, and you weren't even dead yet. That matches Cyborg perfectly. And yet, the perfect Bizarro perfectly nails an evil Superman in general. That whole bit, and boy, the commentary, I should send you the clip of the commentary track. They were saying how you're just wondering, is he going to hurt the cat? And I love that. You do. Did you at all think that when you were watching, oh my God, is he going to hurt the cat? And that's what they said was, and that's the other thing I do like. This Superman, he's not evil per se. He just doesn't have the upbringing, but he's not full on Kryptonian either. He's not like the Eradicator, where he has the Kryptonian ideology, but he doesn't have the memories of being raised by Ma and Pa.
Yeah, even Cyborg had those, or
yeah, or these echoes of those. Enough to fake it, enough to fake things. But this is a unique. I just realized though, the 2007 Perfect Bizarro is a unique version, and they did go out of the way to make it clear he's not evil. He just doesn't have the morality, and that's true. That whole petting the cat. It's he wouldn't actually kill the cat, but he might to teach her to make an example to this woman. And I'm like, that's not evil. It's an evil act. Hell yeah. But the reasons are not evil. He's a by any means necessary Superman. Would you look at it that way? He's a by any means necessary Superman when you think about that. Yeah, but again, with Cyborg though, that whole breakdown, that is typical Cyborg Superman Hank Henshaw. This whole, it's your fault.
Yeah. Yeah. That he wasn't that he had to go from a lackey to the one in charge instead of being the one in charge in the first place.
Exactly. That kind of bothered me, but Jerry O'Connell did a good job as Hank.
Yeah,
in the Cyborg,
or when he was in the disguise. It was Patrick Fabian who did that.
Patrick Fabian, who actually did it. Yeah, you're right, and he did that. Again, that rant. Oh yeah, and by the way, remember he was Harvey Dent in Doom That Came to Gotham.
Yes, I praise him in there because that was good. I hope they actually, if they do some other animated properties again, then he should voice Harvey again.
Yeah, but still though, but yeah, that Hank Henshaw, that is by far the closest we've ever gonna get for a long time. Even though it's not perfect, it's the closest we're ever gonna get. Right down to, I am glad they kept that rant of him blaming Superman for everything, because that's what he does. He always blames Superman for everything. It's never his fault. To which, to be fair, it's not his fault. At least what got him in that position. His actions are his fault. His actions are Cyborg's fault, and he always feels like, why do I? It almost feels like sometimes he wants to get just let off the hook. Because that was
It's kind of
actually something that. Sorry.
It was kind of in that sense that it's also in the sense that he's also turned into a Death Seeker. Also, he actually fits
that was something Jeff Johns introduced. He wants to die.
Oh.
But by the way, how much of the Electric Blue Superman stuff did you watch with me and Jared? That me and Jared had
I have been watching that something of not as separate. I should probably have it run on one course at some point to get it properly.
Yeah. Well, I asked that because of hold on. I gotta start exiting some things off. Hold on. I got too much stuff going on in the background. Hold on. Just gotta make sure I exit some stuff off before my computer completely closes out on me.
Oh.
But yeah, I asked that because there was some Cyborg Superman stuff in there that have been really good. For example, there's because he actually makes three big appearances.
Yeah, I think something that he's back from when he was last seen after Rain.
Well, to be fair, after I went over those. I'm talking about during the Electric Blue, where he's you see him back, and we find out just how much of a life he had beforehand. If I freeze, let me know. All right.
Okay.
We find out about how his life was beforehand. How he's basically, here's what we find out about him that really cements it. Due to the nature of him being a machine, he's always reliving his entire life, constantly, with perfect clarity, right down to his birth. Think about that a second. Oh, I froze, didn't I?
No.
Nope.
Okay. No, I was just.
No. But yes, sorry, but think about that. He is having perfect recollection of his entire life, always going in his head. Again, because of him being a computer, it's perfect recollection. Just that would drive anyone insane if you're always stuck doing that over and over and over and over again.
That actually sounds like something that he actually could, in some sense, relate with Superboy Prime, with how actually they were at they were at the same time with the Sinestro Corps. So
they didn't have time to put that in there, and I also don't think Jeff Johns was thinking about that part. He was just keeping the Death Seeker part.
Yeah.
And also, let's be honest. Yep, and let's be honest, with Superboy, that was more like him choosing to do it. Cyborg would tell him, "You chose to rewatch those. I have no choice." Big difference. Big difference.
Yeah, that would have been a powerful moment in his characterization if they bothered to give Superboy Prime any characterization until
at that
Scott
time.
Snyder.
Yeah, definitely. Well, no. Tavia, we know that we're just talking about Cyborg Superman and his his why one of the reasons that was revealed why he keeps doing it, and he is the way he is, and that's because he's always reliving his lives, his memories. And then, of course, Jeff Johns will still have him be wanting to, not Jeff Johns, Dan Jurgens would then have him show up and be like, he wants to have a normal life. But Superman's like, you still got to answer for what you did. So it's again, Cyborg is one of those perfect tragic characters of, you feel bad for him, but he's still done monstrous things you can't ignore.
Yeah, there is no redemption without atonement.
And he just wants to skip the atonement. That's the thing about Cyborg Superman. He feels like he deserves to skip the atonement. And it's like, no, dude, you can't. You really can't. Okay, do I have? Yep, I removed a lot more of my I was having issues with, because hate when that happens. You know what I mean? Where you have so much stuff in the background, and then your memory starts being eaten away. Computer memory, obviously. But hold on, let me just memorize. But yeah, then of course we've gone over. Well, I just see so many other stuff we did. Our Cole Cryfus coverage was always a blast. Oh yeah, again, back to Green Lantern again.
Yeah.
Boy, just going over Emerald Dawn was interesting, wasn't it?
Yes, especially when the like you said, in the most modern stuff, Earth stuff is uninteresting, and the space stuff is more interesting. But back
they had
then,
some good Earth stuff, yeah.
Yeah, the Earth stuff was
in the
more.
sequel. In the sequel, they did. The first one, hell no. Oh no, I take it back. The first, no, I'm mixing my thoughts up. Yes, the Earth stuff was better in this in general because the space stuff was so generic. But then you had, of course, First Flight, which, oh boy. Oh no, we're talking about Emerald Dawn, Tavia, not Twilight. We're talking about Emerald Dawn.
It's something that I pretty much well summarized with the thumbnail I made it, but so the Emerald Dawn 1, don't drink and drive. Emerald Dawn 2, take responsibility for your actions, and with First Flight, nothing.
I mean, it's an interest. I still say it's interesting. It is still very interesting of a movie. It's kind of like the reversal of Superman Doomsday. Superman Doomsday had great acting that needed that, but the source material wasn't the greatest. Whereas with First Flight, it had very good acting. It had animation that was underutilized, like too good animation for it.
Yeah, especially the suit uptake with the ring.
What do you say about Emerald Knights? You see about Emerald Knights when he said that.
We're talking about the comics series that I went over.
We're talking about the Emerald Dawn. Emerald Dawn was the duology, basically the Batman Year One or Superman Man of Steel of Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And Christopher Priest is going to be at Motor City. I could talk to him about what was his original plans and why did he step down.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I really want to know what was his plans because because when you really think about
when you get the answer,
I'll let you know.
Comment it to my video. I'll put it on a pinned comment.
Yeah, because I am curious what was his plan. Because he only did the first issue, but boy, did that first issue set up a lot.
Oh,
and I applaud Keith Giffen and again Gerard Jones, scumbag human being as he is. They did a good job carrying over, but I'm still not a fan of that. They're the ones though I think that introduced the alien stuff, and that's where you can tell they didn't have that much forethought. And then Sinestro. Sinestro is still. It set the groundwork, as we said. It set the groundwork, but just the whole bit about. I keep saying it. It sounds stupid, but when you really think about it, it makes sense. On Kurgar, him having statues, perfectly fine. It's the banners. It's when it goes that cartoonish. It's like you have a few banners and flags here and there. When you have the entire streets covered in them.
It's basically North Korea.
That's ego. That is beyond ego. And yes, Sinestro has an ego. But not even when written well, he shouldn't have that big an ego. It's the whole, and it's something that both he and Black Adam have something in common. Going off of their original premise, these were both people that were once tapped to be a Green Lantern, at least it was implied for Sinestro, and the champion of Shazam. So they had to have some good in them. But then most writers just ignore that and just go on saying, oh, they're just the evil counterpart, they're evil, mwahaha. Jeff Johns is the one who looked at it and be like, no, that can't be it. What led to them? What they had to have been good people. Just doing it the wrong way.
Oh, the whole enemies necessary thing that with Jeff Johns with Shazam in the New 52 Shazam, for example, they established
they didn't go a little further.
The Rock they changed it. The Rock changed it to it was basically the same in the Black Adam movie, but it was changed from nephew to son, and
he didn't
someone
kill
else
him.
killed him.
I don't get why Jeff Johns. I gotta say that was better because him killing his own nephew. I'm sorry, that was the bridge too far.
No matter how much he seemed to regret it before even doing it.
Now, granted,
that's the implication I got from the art.
Wait a minute, but then again, but it implied he did have to kill him anyway. How else would he have kept the power? But then again, no, it's not like Jeff Johns ignored the fact that Black Adam killed Billy's parents in the the post-crisis continuity. He did. Remember, Jeff Johns is carrying off of the Jerry Ordway stuff.
I need to reread that.
Yeah, well, we can go over that at some point. Yeah, I'm already going over. I've gone over the Monster Men. I did that with She Who Shall Not Be Named a while back. I've done, and I'm going to be doing. I already have it in the can with Ian, the New 52 version. I still need to go over Power Shazam. You know what I mean? But I gotta say, with Jeff Johns, this is one thing Ian and I realized with Jeff Johns' the origin. It was the revitalization that Shazam had needed for a long time. They had been scrambling. Look back at Trials of Shazam, how they were trying to rework the mythos. Interesting, but they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, it was. And it was kind of the New 52 to Origin was pretty much a proper modern remake.
Tavia, I just said I already did Monster Society. Sorry, can't do it. But yeah, but the Shazam family, I really like that. Now, I gotta say, something I realized going back over it, there is a hint off that there might be more between Billy and Mary than we thought, but no one's played off of it, where she was the first one to actually hear the magic, what's her name? That one woman that Billy was talking to in the mirror. She could hear for a moment when no one else could. And I've talked to Josie Campbell, and she said she wants to try and bring back the brother-sister connection somehow, some way. Because I gotta say, that was a shame. I didn't like them losing that Billy and Mary were connected. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Not sure if that could be overwritten with the continuity that has come since the New 52. It would probably, if there's a new version out.
No, I think there's a way. I think there's a way. Here's what I'm thinking. She was never, the parents who raised her before she went on adoption were not her parents. Or, well, to be fair, they are implying she's older than Billy. So what if Billy's parents put her up for adoption because they weren't ready then? And then they thought they could handle Billy, but it went south.
Okay, that could work.
Tavia, there was the sequel to the Monster Society was a different series for kids done by someone else that carried over. Then Power of Shazam was a separate. Then you had two origins for Shazam that were actually okay, let me rephrase this. Monster Society was its own continuity. That was not part of the main DC universe. Couldn't it be? It could not. But then Shazam had two different origins that were considered canon. You had Shazam: The New Beginning by Roy Thomas, I believe. That one tied into continuity at the time, but then it got overridden by Jerry Ordway's Power of Shazam. All right? That are the two different origins. But anyway, but yeah, with Sinestro, back to Sinestro. Just really bothered me reading over that with Emerald Dawn. Just feels like there's moments of greatness, and then he goes back to being yelling at the Guardians and everything. Right? It just didn't feel like how you still wonder how the heck did he become a Green Lantern? How did he last this long? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
That was the big problem with it. You're wondering, how did he last this long?
Jeff Johns did also something with Sinestro in something in the lead up to before Blackest Night. That the way how he got his ring was, well, he was an archaeologist or something similar. He came across.
Did he? I'm trying to remember.
It was some. He came across some other similar wounded Green Lantern, and
Hold on.
and something that there could have been a chance to save the Green Lantern, but because he wanted to get the ring, he just let him die, and then the ring came to him. That was something Jeff Johns did, and I remember it was also TV tropes called it a missed opportunity during Blackest Night because Sinestro was never confronted by that predecessor.
An anthropologist.
Okay, yeah.
Wait, let me look this up. Was it Jeff Johns who did it, or was it Cullen Bunn who did it? And I'm trying to find hold on. Wait, it was Ron Mars who did it. Ron Mars is the one who first introduced that idea back in Secret Origins of Supervillains.
So it was.
So it wasn't Jeff Johns who did that.
Okay, it wasn't. Okay, I was about it. Maybe might have not been Jeff Johns, but it was still one of those.
Yeah, he could have tapped into it. He could have tapped into it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was still so told in those series and issues that came before Blackest Night.
But to be fair, though, it was the death of his wife, Sarnik's mother, that pushed him over the edge. Alan Moore never directly wrote a Green Lantern story. He implied it, or no, he did write one story that led into the whole prophecy of the Blackest Night that Jeff Johns utilized. And that's one of the cases where I disagree with Alan Moore, saying how he did not like Jeff Johns' use. It was like, I know that was meant to be in the Emerald Twilight. You weren't using it. He chose to use it because no one else was going to. Shut up, Alan. Just because you use it doesn't mean it should be off limits to everyone else.
Yeah.
Right? But boy, they haven't done anything with Sarnik ever since they made her a Yellow Lantern. I just realized.
Hey.
That's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't recall coming across. Then again, I have not actually very actively been reading the news.
Yeah, all because of Kyle lying to her.
I don't think that was more of a lie. It was more of a like delayed exposition of truth because he was still also processing over it.
True, but it didn't help though.
Yeah, it didn't help. He probably would have told her eventually after he himself managed to deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it. That's true. But of course, you have your video you'll be working on eventually when we went over Secret Origins, and you're going to use that for the movie. And I got to say, I realized something else. If Green Lantern had followed Green Lantern Origins as faithfully as Shazam followed the New 52 Shazam Origins, it would have been a much better movie.
Yes.
Can we agree to that?
It would have been like more in location. They like the final fight they had against Atrocitus. That would have been much maybe a cheaper way to film it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Atrocitus could have probably been a CGI monster, maybe.
Which would have been better than a cloud.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, but you could tell Jeff did not have as much control. And then you had Mark Guggenheim writing it. And remember, this is the same guy who derailed so much of the Green Arrow mythos for the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
To the point where Jeff Johns actually has taken a snipe at him. Did you know that?
Yeah. I think many comics they took a snipe at the whole Arrowverse when it was coming, when with the changes.
Here's what he had said. Let's say you've been given a position of writing Green Arrow from scratch. You might say, okay, I'm going to write this new character. And then someone says, well, what about Black Canary? You might say, nope, that means you completely misunderstand these characters. Exactly.
Yeah, that's how the in their inceptions, maybe Green Arrow and Black Canary were not as connected, but these days they are more or less more inseparable. And you can tell a Black Canary story without Green Arrow, but with Green Arrow, you pretty much need to have Black Canary present in some shape or form.
Right. But the fact is, let's be honest. And he's talking about when the season 4 came out, and that's when Guggenheim took over.
Sure,
The fact that he was so blunt about it, and I bet you he was probably ticked off at how much Guggenheim butchered the movie, the Green Lantern movie. Because unfortunately, Jeff still has that stink over from that. Because how many people? I think people are more. I'm just grateful nowadays. People are more likely to feel like he wasn't at fault for that movie.
Most people point out to Guggenheim in more or less. Although I think Martin Campbell also gets pointed out because he
unfortunate. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he got
also,
screwed over.
I remember, or I think I recall that Ryan Reynolds had said around that time before his personality began to be more tailored towards his Deadpool performance, and also that he said he had also thought to keep more faithful stuff in the Green Lantern movie, like the Green Lantern oath was supposedly somewhat changed in the movie, and Reynolds had tried to make sure that it stayed the same as it was supposed to be.
Yeah, but if you have Dinah Lance, why the heck do you have her be the older woman? So you could have Sarah Lance. Now, Alex Kingston was great, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's like, but they could have just had both Dinah and Dinah. Because remember, they both had the same name.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
or actually, or more or less, actually, I think the Laurel was supposed to be also be because she had the first name, but
right.
Okay.
But, okay.
The older Black Canary is Dinah Drake or Dinah Lance, or and the younger version is Dinah Laurel Lance. So she was going by her middle name to better separate herself from the mother.
One thing though I do like that they've since gotten rid of that I hated, that the mother put her mind into the daughter's body. You know they did that pre-crisis, right? That basically the daughter had became brain dead, and so she can keep on continuing living, in a younger, youthful body, put her mind into it. They have since just totally butchered that and not butchered that, but disregard it, and I'm grateful.
Good.
Yeah, but again, stuff about the Arrowverse. I barely watched the Arrowverse, but everything I heard says that I gotta say this. I am surprised. What does it say about that? The Arrowverse never developed as rabid of this is the true continuity as the Snyderverse. What does that say?
That not enough people were paying attention to it, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I remember around the time.
Because it could have is what I'm saying.
I remember the Arrow started about back in 2012. I remember that was also when I was
Yeah.
Yeah, I was still serving in my mandatory service time in the Finnish Defense Force at the time, and it was. I remember it was kind of when you got to weekend leaves mostly. I remember going online and looking at some pirate website or wherever it was, because it wasn't airing on TV in Finland until maybe 18 months later. And I remember it was a weekend retreat between the service weeks that I actually got to watch the new episode, at least on that first half of the first season as it was coming out.
All right, I'm looking up who did that story, by the way, but with the okay, here it is. It was Justice League. Hold on, let me just look this up. There's a Black Canary. Oh, Justice League number 220. Hold on, and who wrote that? This was written by Roy Thomas.
Hey,
what the hell, Roy?
Okay, values come and go, but that would have the implications of alone in. That's not something a hero would do. That's something a villain would do.
Yeah.
Even if the character is brain dead.
Oh, you know why they did it? Is because The original Black Canary never had the sonic cry, but the other one did.
That actually, isn't that exactly the same thing that Ross was trying to do in Batman Beyond?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he did do it.
Okay, yeah, did do. But that's the whole thing. A villain does that. Heroes.
Yeah. Well, again, her daughter was mindless, so it's not like she was overriding her.
Oh.
Okay, wait. Hold on. I'm double checking something here. There might not have been the full thing. So hold on.
No, Tevia, they didn't. I think Black Canary was a heroic version most of the time. Whatever evil version of Black Canary is mostly Earth 3 only. And the only evil Earth 2 characters were what was in the Flash.
Okay, here's how it said. And to save the Elder Canary, the JSA brought Dinah to the same dimension where her daughter's body floated, switching their minds. This meant that the Elder Dinah was reborn, so she didn't choose to do it. They were doing it to save both of them into her daughter's mindless body, while the older body with the infant's mind died. To prevent any angst, Dinah's mind was wiped so that she didn't know about the swap. She eventually finds out and says, "Don't tell Ollie." It was just them trying to do a big story and everything. Again, I'm just glad that they since dropped this. This makes no sense.
Okay, it's less bad than I thought, but it's still not exactly as good.
What was the point of the idea? This feels like more of just again, it's not as bad, but they've since dropped it because I don't think anyone wants that implication. It's like, just have them be separate characters. But still, with Secret Origin, like I said, that was still
Roy Thomas. There we just went over. It was Roy.
Yeah,
Thomas.
we just said Roy Thomas. He probably stepped away. But I don't think you and I've gone over many other except for Long Halloween and Dark Knight Returns, which you're currently working on. And
yeah, but I have about 35. There is about 12 or 13 minutes to edit visuals to then put background music there, and then hopefully the surprise guest collaborator I asked for this video said that they'll send me the segment.
We understand, Tavia. No, I hear you. But was your first half though? Would you agree with my statement that it loses its impact when you don't have the narrations?
Yeah, it's something that I'm editing that part as of right now. That it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's in the show don't tell situations like for example, something I'm editing right now in this part. We don't need the narration to have his inner monologue say that he's too old to climb a rope. That can be changed to just showing it.
Yeah.
But then there are also when he watches the movie and the PTSD in that would be better to be voiced. And some other scene also, I don't know right now.
No, I would say this, at least keep some of the Batman's narration, not Bruce's narration. Now, granted, it's hard to tell, but like I've said before, my theory is Bruce pretty much stopped being the narrator after he said Zorro. No harm in watching a movie. That's the last time that was Bruce's narration.
Yeah.
Everything else afterwards.
Yeah. But if Peter Weller had some more vocal dissonance there in his voice, then there could have been probably better way to differentiate where Bruce starts.
He's a good actor, but why? He just wasn't suited for this.
I think there was maybe it wasn't in the voice or the performance. It was also more in the attitude of the voice.
We can't blame the directing because it was still Andrea Romano, and she's great at directing. So
yeah, could have been the recording. Could have also been the recording sessions, and they probably took bad, didn't use the best possible takes there was. But I think that at the very least, the attitude when he was trying to be the dominant Batman personality when he's speaking, at least there was some change to the attitude as he was speaking.
Definitely, there was at least some slight change, but And I could also look at it that Bruce would not even bother trying to keep a difference in his voice.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because he's so old, I don't think Batman would care.
Yeah.
But again,
it's
just some.
It's mostly the change in the way of carrying yourself, of carrying like passive voice and then the more dominant voice.
Exactly. But like I said, I do feel like some of the narrations, like the beginning, the opening narration, I missed the whole like I coaxed it. This would be a good death, but not enough. But I'm not, or not enough, or whatever.
Yeah.
I missed that part, you know. I coaxed it, and we already know with the this includes the bit with him shooting the guy, right?
Yes,
why? Already... You know where I stand on this.
Yes, I already said pretty much. I said that it either happened like this or it happened like this. I'm not gonna spoil what options I brought up. I just gonna.
No, I know.
When I say and then to say debate on the comment section which one of these two happened.
But either way, though, if I remember right, they full on do have him kill him, which is like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yes, actually, at least the animated movie had some. I would like to say that it was a fair compromise about him trying to disarm the mutant by shooting at the gun.
Right.
If Adam and Jamie had not disproven that movie myth 3 years before the movie came out on Mythbusters.
Yep. But still, though, it's like, and I've seen the director talk with Jared about that. That's his viewpoint. I'm like, dude, that doesn't match up with the rest of the story.
Wait, did you manage to get Jay Oliver there? I thought it had Sam Liu there.
Well, Sam Liu, not Jay Oliver. My mistake. But he storyboarded, I think. I think he did storyboard it, I think.
Well, I was actually surprised that it was the movie was also written by the same guy who did Superman Unbound. That was all.
All right.
Yeah, I even went through it when I was starting to write it. Okay, directed by Oliver and there was like Bob Goodman, the same guy who did this, and then show the writer's page, zoom in, and okay, moving on.
Right, but still, no. I think I take it back. Sam Liu was just talking about from the insider's point of what they were looking at, but still, the fact that they still say like, "Oh yeah, he killed," it's like. Then explain why the story doesn't reflect that.
That's the other thing of a way how I said that either it was a lucky shoulder shot, or the media doesn't care.
No, but Sarah, not Sarah, Yindo would have.
Yeah, Yindo wasn't in charge, and she wasn't even appointed at that point of the story.
No, but she would have looked back at his record still. She went because notice she compounded all of his other things that Ben was never charged with anything until she was involved. So she would have looked back and even said manslaughter at least. She would not have let that sit. You know that. If there was a dead body that was clearly pointing towards him, like the guy shooting down, the one like, did you shoot him? Yeah, I got him. You cannot blame Batman for that. Clearly, you cannot blame Batman for that one. Like, not even she could have. Reckless endangerment, maybe, but not manslaughter. Him shooting the gun at the one guy, you can't avoid that.
Yeah.
And like I said, the media, it was a big enough case with, it was an heir. The media.
Actually, now that I think about it, there could be a third option.
What's that?
The heirs, the parents of the heir were so grateful that they paid everyone not to look into it.
I don't buy that one. That's too much of a stretch.
Yeah, it's a stretch, but it's still.
If Frank wanted that, he would have implied it. This is why I'm saying Frank is a guy who would. Frank is a writer who would not be subtle.
If there's also the whole thing I'll bring up. In the opening, I already say the movie, the Dark Knight Returns was written by the young Frank Miller, not the now old Frank Miller.
Yeah, but even the older Frank Miller, well, yeah, you're right. Because look at how he was in Dark Knight Strikes Again, where he let the Hawkman's son kill Lex. But again, we talked there. He was probably also too battered and beaten to care by that point. He's probably like, I'm going to die from that beating. I don't have time to argue.
Yeah.
Because he drilled it into Carrie. We don't kill.
Yeah. Hey, we don't kill, but someone else can kill.
Yeah.
Or more like that. They don't kill, but if they have the power in you to prevent someone from killing, then you do your best to try to prevent it.
Exactly.
If he wasn't in shape to stop Hawkman's son, then it would have been then it was different.
Yep, and Lex deserved to die. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it's like back in the 70s and 80s, there were some points where you would have Batman say like a goon got killed by accident, by stray bullets. Batman would then grab the body and use it as a shield. Morally compromising? Yeah, but the guy's dead. What does he care? Use it when he can, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't kill him. But he's not going to just leave the body there if he can use it to get out.
Yeah.
I mean, would I want to see Batman do that regularly? No. Hell no.
No.
But back then, kind of makes me look back when you and I went over Batman Year 2 recently. Oh boy, that was so infuriating, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're just judging it by modern Batman, like, why did he improve his armor? Things like that. And remember, we have to remember, they didn't make that a regular thing back then, even by present day Batman. This is so funny, isn't it? Like, we just look at it, it's just like, why does the Batman do this? You know, and it's like, well, a little correction I want to make about that, actually. Turns out it was written around the same point as Year 1 was. They just didn't know what Frank was doing in Year 1. At least when they started Year 2. Obviously, then as they went further in, they knew what Frank was doing and they could make notes to it.
Denny O'Neil wasn't doing the editor job in both then, or
he did.
Did we go over who the editor was for Detective?
No, we did not. No, we did not go over that.
Okay, I'm gonna put on more lights.
Denny O'Neil was the editor. Yeah. Yeah, Denny O'Neil was the editor.
Well, what does that say about?
Well, to be fair, he just got on board.
Okay, growing pains.
Growing pains
and trying to get his trying to find the learning the ropes.
Exactly. And well, not just that, he was probably also like trying to keep things moving forward still. Like, yeah, he was brought in, he returned to DC in 1986. So that's right when around and Batman Year 1 was the very next year. So he had to deal with the crisis and everything. And again, I don't fully blame them entirely. Again, it was just little things here and there, like, oh, the newly commissioned, the new captain, Commissioner Gordon. That got a little tiresome, but thankfully they didn't run that joke into the ground at least.
Yeah.
But Year 2 was, boy, was that a divisive one, right? Are you at all considering doing a Mask of the Phantasm and doing not a compare and contrast, but at least a spiritual talk about Year 2 to that?
Maybe I could. Maybe was it to do that to acknowledge that, okay, not an adaptation, but the inspiration on how we got from here to there.
Well,
and connect the dots that this inspired this inspired this inspired this, and this inspired this.
Yep, I mean, technically that would fall with what happened with Emerald Dawn to First Flight.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first time in that sense. I have already set up predicament for it.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I'm still hemming and hawing if I should go over Batman Year 3 or not.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, what you told about it.
Yeah, because that's an interesting story. They and everything, and I like I say, it's a sequel of sorts. That is
And you know,
a good way of putting it.
there's a story set in a present and then present and past with the
Yep. Well, more of the past then. It was then Lonely Place of Dying that played off of the present stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, just that whole bit. The fact that, of course, it got overwritten by Dark Victory.
Hmm.
For the most part, anyway. Because, of course, they say Tony Zuko, like, we see Tony Zuko die in Dark Victory.
Yeah, but even then they somehow managed to
Bring him back.
new
Which I just realized now. Have you read the first issue of last Halloween?
Yeah, only today I managed to find it online.
Oh yeah, it's free on DC Universe and Infinite and everything. But yeah, but yeah, it's already contradicting the pre-new 52 with Mario Falcao, which I don't mind.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, Tony Daniel, like him and everything, but I'd rather have a low deal with Falcone.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think about that? By the way, let me grab my copy. Hold on.
It's
I mean, I take it as it's a year after the special. It has to be.
Yeah, it's set up mostly Harvey and Gilda are mostly living together again in
the sewer.
Work with Grundy also as the watching for with their bodyguard, and there's I think there's some other villains, maybe not Calendar Man anymore, but someone who is now coming for the original holiday, and
yeah, someone is. We don't know who, but someone
and
is.
Loeb might also, because James Jr. was also kidnapped.
Oh yeah, again. Which
so
do you think he's going to tie into what Scott Snyder did, or do you think he's going to ignore it?
Either or.
Now, to be fair, he doesn't really need to do much with Gordon with Junior because or show any characterization from him because again, that stuff doesn't settle in until he gets older.
Yeah, it could be just sowing the seeds of what he eventually becomes.
I do. What do you think about the nod though to the Dark Knight? The Joker mask.
Oh,
the clown mask. I mean.
Yeah, I was
it's the mask from the Dark Knight.
Yeah, it looks familiar.
Yep, right even here. That's the one Joker wore.
Yeah, that's the whole.
But yeah, I am
curious. Would that tie it to the Joker, or would it, would it be a red herring?
I think it's either a red herring or it's just a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, I gotta say though, Eduardo Rizzo, perfect to start off because he has a art style that's similar, not exact, but similar to Sale.
Yeah, that it's similar, but it's also kind of. If you also look how Tim Sale drew Batman's cape, like it was like a huge blanket of cloth that was just there. The way how Eduardo Russo has drawn it, it looks more restrained in length.
By the way, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up showing us what led to Gordon and Barbara finally breaking up. It feels like that's what they're leading towards.
Kind of like how. What was that? Also, that some anthology series with Gordon and Batman's relationship, the bullet points or focal points or
something like that.
Something like that. It was that first story which had Batman in the early days stop someone shooting up a church wedding, and then after that Gordon came back to his home empty with the paperwork done for the divorce and everything else, and then it went through the Barbara's fate, Jason's fate, and whatever happened during Nightfall, and some story after that, and then it was set in the present day, where the.
Wait a minute, Taker. What news are you? What news are you talking about, Tavia?
News about Amazing Spider-Man Marvel Exhibits being.
I don't know, but that's too vague. I don't know what news it is. I just looked at Newsarama. I don't see anything there.
Something about maybe they are still parroting that we can't have Spider-Man be married with Mary Jane.
Yeah, but I don't see that anywhere. I don't see that anywhere.
Popverse.
I don't really trust Popverse that much.
And CBR.
Yeah, I do not trust Popverse that much, to be fair, dude. Popverse is, well, not as, it has some good moments, but it's not as bad as, oh, never mind. Oh boy, they dredge up old stuff like what George Lucas thought of Thrawn and Mara Jade, according to Timothy Zahn. People already know that one.
Old news. Old news to people who probably miss. I mean, maybe they're the way how they are justifying the old news is that okay, some people maybe not have heard this, so let's re-report it.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, he did not like Mara and did not like the Ysalamari. But he didn't wonder. But Zahn believes if George didn't like the book, he would have given it out as a company Christmas gift. So yeah, this is a stupid thing. There's not that much going answering the question here. That's the problem with Popverse. They take little things here and there and then blow it up. Check C. You say about CBR, and he says check CBR. Wait, rumors say Spider-Man 4 won't see Peter Parker that much, only Spider-Man? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Again, dude, where? Link me this article, dude, because I can't see it. You do realize a lot of stuff gets buried deep, right? A lot of stuff gets really buried down deep. I gotta say, I'm looking forward to that Ranma 1/2 remake. I love that anime.
Oh.
Wait, okay, Popverse doing a video, an article saying, we'll never get sequel to Shaun of Dead, Hot Fuzz, and the World End, and here's why. No shit, we don't need one. What kind of question is that? What kind of article is that?
Clickbait to those who don't get or don't know.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, because I'm looking around at this. I'm trying to find what he's talking about. And again, that's the problem when you say go look at CBR or Popverse. Those articles get buried fast. Like usually by the time you're seeing them, they're way down the line. By the way, rest in peace, Maggie Smith.
Yes.
Which it might derail that Sister Act 3 movie they've been working on. Or Whoopi might actually continue through as a tribute to her. I just hope they rework the story so they can acknowledge the character's death.
Yeah, I haven't watched that much.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any article about Spider-Man on CBR, dude. And I'm looking back the past 17 hours. But, dude, to be fair, are you really that surprised? I mean, Pika, are you surprised at all that they'd be doubling down? Oh, God, Velma's getting a Halloween special. What?
Might as well be an episode of an episode with
I found it. I found it.
I
found it. Of course, it's Tom Brevoort. Tavia, it's Tom Brevoort. It's Tom Brevoort. No, Tavia, I found it. Hold on. Let me share it. Hold on. But yeah, it's Tom frickin' Brevoort. Do you really expect Tom to side with the wedding? Do you really think Tom Brevoort would side with the wedding? To which, he can To which the
This
original
is almost
question,
week old.
yeah, yeah. Well, Dwayne was asked a question about editorial mandates at Marvel. Brevoort began by breaking down who actually makes certain story decisions and how to idea. If you're working for Marvel, the ground rules are all the characters are Marvels, and Marvel as an institute gets to decide what's right and wrong for these characters. There are certain things you won't want you do not, and you don't want Spider-Man to do. To which the original question, like get back with Mary Jane. You can get back with Mary Jane. He just can't actually tie the knot with Mary Jane. Perhaps it was an off-the-cuff remark that shouldn't be read into, but we can't help but notice that this seems to contradict a previous statement that keeping Peter and Mary Jane from getting married was not an editorial mandate, but a preference. Of course, well, and I'm sorry, that still bothers me. You know what I mean? Their reasons are so petty. And now that you've had Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Verse prove it works.
Yeah, it works. And
it's outselling the current book.
Yeah, give people. Yeah, that's another.
And it's not outselling it. Oh, just because Spidey. No, it's outselling because people want to read a well-written, married Spidey.
Oh.
But they just don't want to listen because in their eyes, I mean, okay, I get it to a point. To a point, they are looking at it like they're looking at what the kids would want. And would the kids want it? I don't think the kids would care, but would kids be pushed away by a married Spidey? I don't think so.
No, isn't. Some people want to look at it that Peter could just be the older Spider-Man who has the built-in fan base already, and Miles could be the younger Spider-Man who is for the kids.
Yeah, exactly. But nope, they keep on making this weird-ass decision.
Not to mention, it would make more sense to have an older Peter who is doing better in life with Miles than have a young Peter who is being.
By the way, hey Michael. By the way, hey Michael.
Who is being tortured in life, while also having Miles exist in a somewhat better life situation than him.
Agreed, but how does Brevoort still have this position? What skeletons does he have? What secret pictures does he have?
Oh.
Good question, right?
And of which people?
Yeah, exactly. And of which people? Because I don't get it. I really don't get it. But they just want to keep it that way. Now, I have to wonder also how much of this is a Disney mandate where Joe Quesada is probably convinced Disney this is the best way to go. Because now I give them props, though, that they still allow it to exist because they could have said no. Let's think about that. They could have said no to Ultimate Spider-Man having him be married.
Yeah.
No, well, Tavia, he's gone from Marvel Comics, but until a couple of years ago, he still worked higher up between Marvel and Disney. You gotta remember that. He only retired and stepped away entirely a couple of years ago. But hey, now I want to get to a different question. The Snyderverse and the Gunverse. I don't want this to become a heated discussion, all right? I do not. But I did see some stupidity coming out of when James Gunn said about how he lost a friend to alcoholism recently.
Yes, and I saw that too.
One idiot coming out, but then Gunn went out saying he ain't a Snyder fan.
Yeah, most people also pointed it out that it was someone going around as one. And they also didn't have any mutuals with other fans, and then also had dug up some old tweets where he was pro-gun.
All right, what is with that? Which tells me I don't think this. Either this guy was really pro-gun, trying to make the Snyder fans look bad, or this guy's just a troll for both.
Could have been either or, more or less, but probably troll for both is the best.
But unfortunately, that causes then the Snyder fans to have more ammunition against the gun fans, and I hate when they do that too. And
yes, that's the. If you use the scale I made for the VSD Elite video, it's basically both red-orange sides throwing shit at each other, while the normal people in the middle are just trying to hold umbrellas.
Yeah, but I am really tired of the extreme Snyder fans keep on saying that Gunn was a pedo, and they can say they threw a pedo party. It was a catch-up predator party.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? It's like that was the theme of it.
Yeah, that's also something that it's an old thing that has been talked over already, and trying to parrot about it doesn't do any.
But they still do it.
Any favors to anyone. Yeah, they still do it, but they shouldn't do it. Smart people should acknowledge that it doesn't have you don't achieve anything by keeping parroting about it.
But they keep feeling like, oh no, it's an absolute fact that he's a pedo, and it's like, no, he's not.
No, just like how if you go with some well, like when Ben Affleck came under fire with some.
You have some pro-gun people bring that up.
They also bring that up. I recall that when it was first reported, he responded to it and publicly apologized for it as well as you do. We never actually heard about from the other side, but also going by the fact that it was Jeffrey Dean Morgan's wife.
Yeah,
right now. So it obviously is something that they have talked about, and it has been settled to somewhat because they still, at the time, were technically playing a father and son as Batman and maybe Flashpoint Batman if that would have been done.
Yeah.
So if there was some bad blood between them, they probably wouldn't have agreed to even
exactly, which there wasn't. There wasn't bad blood.
Yeah. So that is something that they have or most likely have dealt with, and only people who want attention are bringing it up.
It just drives me nuts. And again, then you have all of the Snyder fans who then complain about, like, I've actually seen some Snyder fans legitimately say Jack Kirby's Darkseid look sucks.
No, that couldn't be. Kirby's grandson approved the Darkseid we got in the Snyder Cut, so they wouldn't. Anyone who does that, realistically, if we have the Kirby estate the approval from Kirby's estate, the only people who would say that would be the left end of the scale people who are extremely pro-gun.
Yep. I know though. There's a split on that. You have people who are pro-gun, and there are people who are just pro his DC universe.
Which hasn't even come out, and not to mention even some small criticism like something looks better than it was, and people were bringing up. Still, it's not even a joke anymore to say that David Koros with Superman looks like the Fortnite skin, but still, all the fan arts that are made of it, they look better than those leaks. And it's also kind of, when that trailer comes out, it's the make it or break it for the siellä.
And I'm positive Gunn knows that. Gunn knows that.
Yeah, that trailer needs to be something do something that makes it look better than the leaks did.
Now, I want to keep in mind. I want to say this quickly. Yeah. I am not one of those who just generalizes all Snyder fans as the Snyder cult. I am not. I am talking specifically the cult, not the fans. People like Jared and all that, a bit on the extreme side of the fans, but they're still just the fans. They are not in the cult mindset. I am just talking about the cultists.
Oh.
Like, didn't you have people who are already saying, when the movie comes out, it completely bombed. And then they're like, we have been vindicated. It's like, what are you, a fortune teller? I am so tired of seeing them making these stupid tweets like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, knock it off, you idiots.
Me. That's mostly because I also on my side I want to have low expectations, wait for it to come out, and then judge it by its own merits, not with what has been shown up so far, and recycle and grind about. Hey, remember these old leaks?
Yeah,
everything's working fine.
or also, who wants stupid crypto? A lot of people want crypto. What did that tell you their mindset?
I don't know, but there's also the kind of some reverse psychology in that also, because some people overhype crypto. So that much that if you overhype it, then there comes the hype backlash that you just tune yourself off from it.
Exactly,
Okay,
but I'm looking forward to it.
Some people might call it stupid, but that's more on another case of monster of your own making. You overhype something, and then when someone sees that it's not as hyped up it was, they have a negative or not.
Well, thankfully, the general audience are not overhyped on crypto. Thankfully, because let's be honest, I don't think most of the generals are paying attention to either side. Although I do, well, I don't take that back. I don't think they're paying attention to any of the negative side from the gun side. But I do think that the Snyder cult has seeped in a little bit, not a lot, a little bit in the general audiences. And I'm sorry, that's not making them look good. Again, when they go around saying how Gunn, the fact you're having all of them saying how Gunn is just as bad as, say, Kevin Spacey and the others, or they compare him to somebody like, I've seen them comparing him to P. Diddy, and P. Diddy say how, oh, he's going to be outed soon, just you wait. They're saying that he's the P. Diddy of Hollywood. I'm like, okay, shut up, you idiots. What do they think they're going to gain from this?
No,
do they really think they're going to be the ones who are going to?
Maybe whatever was happened with. You saw what happened with Zachary Levi recently.
Oh yeah, he supported Trump, and now, what a surprise!
Oh, I was just, good thing I don't have many horses in that race, because my race went out already earlier this year.
Yep. But still, just again, I've made my clear where my stance is on the Snyderverse. I like it for what it is, but I am grateful it ended, because I am of the belief, my personal belief, it set a bad standard for some people. Yes, Zach had plans. I am not denying that. I am not denying that he might have planned to have Superman eventually become the Boy Scout that we know him to be eventually. But I've made it clear, and I think I've told you this. My problem with that mindset is you build up multiple movies with the other characterization, and you're just going to end at that point. Most people are not going to pay attention to the end point. They're going to pay attention to what you built up to it.
Yeah, that's mostly because also I think why most people focus on BVS just to the no one stays good in this world, and then they ignore what came after it.
Exact, but and unfortunately, you see how many of the fans who still think Snyder Superman is the true Superman and anything else. It's why they are trashing on crypto. Their eyes, crypto don't belong. Crypto represents, it's like little post-crisis viewpoint, but to the extreme, turned up to 22, not even 11, 22, where they're like, we don't want that pre-crisis crap. Now, granted, there weren't that many people post-crisis that were fans that were like that. That's why I'm just saying they're turned up to that extreme. Because that's why I'm positive. Have you noticed how many people keep on saying, where's Darkseid? Where's this? Why aren't they doing this? It's like, and that's the other problem. You don't jump to the big bad right off the bat. That's why my complaint still was, you don't start with General Zod in the first movie. You don't. Because look at what happened. I still say this. The Snyderverse started on a bad footing. Can we agree to that? That was a bad footing to start an entire cinematic universe on. Where
I'd say it was a flawed footing in the sense.
Okay, flawed footing.
Yes, they could have been a chance to build up from it, but the whole BVS having the two versions of it, and then most people still probably to this day, I don't think acknowledge the Ultimate Edition much, and
It's kind of, that's comparable to the Daredevil movie.
Yeah.
You know, the director's cut, the superior version.
Yeah.
Like I say, what did it say? When I saw BVS, that was the first time ever in my entire movie going career I felt this movie is disjointed. I was feeling, and I didn't have any spoilers going in. I just watched it, and I just felt like this is disjointed as hell. I never felt that way about a movie before, ever.
Yeah, it took. I think I was also in some kind of denial when I was watching it. Or I remember when I went to it, I had a not exactly a pen pal, but someone I wrote back and forth about when we were talking about some shows and movies when we had watched them. And I remember saying because it came out in Finland 2 days earlier. So I sent her like a before and after selfies on having seen it, and I remember my view being like kind of confused, or something of positively confused, as in I wasn't that much broken off from it, but I probably felt that there was something off.
Right, but I would say this. As much as I do say that the Snyder cut of Justice League was the superior one, there is still 1 minute and 1 moment and one element I like about the Whedon cut, and that's Superman. I felt this was close to the Superman that I've been wanting to see on the screen. He wasn't full on Christopher Reeves, but he was close to stuff like the animated Superman or what was going on in the comics at the time, Superman.
The opening sequence in the theatrical Justice League was
minus the CGI mustache, of course.
Minus that. The otherwise that was fine-ish opening in that sense.
Yeah.
But when Superman came back, the whole, not to mention the whole speaking so much here and there, when he came back and then back and forth, that was.
But it's just the feeling, the vibe I was getting from Superman there.
Okay, the vibe maybe was there, but the way how it was carried on and executed, otherwise that wasn't.
Oh, I agree there, but just the vibe and everything just felt like this is the Superman I wanted to see on the screen.
Yes, but it wasn't. But the situation
it's still a bad movie. It's still a bad movie. I'm not denying that, but
even when the Snyder Cut came out, it wasn't that much different. It was
right.
Superman was still Superman. It was in the sense that he was confused. He came down from the confusion, and then he was brought back in the sense.
Right. I guess all to say. Can I ask one question?
Okay.
Why did so many of the Snyder fans seem to jump on agreeing with Ray Fisher that "booyah" was a bad thing to say when that's been a long-established catchphrase for Cyborg?
From when I look at it, maybe the placing where it was and where it was said, it could have probably been said, in a different situation. And maybe the tone was wrong for me when it was said. It was kind of like it felt tacked on there. It could have probably been said organically as a reaction to something.
But I agree. But the fact he hated the line, period. Ray hated the line.
That I cannot understand. The only way I can look at it in the context
of
the
it was racist or something.
That I cannot answer to. The only way how I can understand it being it doesn't work is the way how it was done in the movie, and where it was placed in the movie, and then if it was in some kind of better situation and better and with better circumstances, then it would have made more sense.
Agreed.
It would have probably made sense that also if he was somewhat happier or like from his happier days when actually the flashbacks, for example, when he when he was winning the games, did a home run, then happy booyah, and then sees his father is absent, and then not saying
bring it down. That would have been fine, but the fact
that would have been a good place to put it.
But the fact he was against the line in general, and then you have some of the Snyder fans who defend him saying, yeah, he had every right not to want the line. It's like, okay, you people are just saying because Ray said it. That's that's the only way I can look at it. It's like, did these people forget that Cyborg's unofficial catchphrase? Take you to an injustice, for God's sake. booyah is something he always said, but you have some of those fans who defend Ray hating it.
Was it something that only came up in the 2003 cartoon? But it was incepted?
Yeah, the 2003 started it. And then there's something that's been so tightly affiliated with it, they include it in Injustice. Because when you win as him, he goes, booyah!
Yeah. Probably because they had the same voice actor also.
That's true.
So it made sense.
But still, it has been something that's been strongly affiliated with the character ever since.
Could have been maybe like with Superman, it could have been something that also evolved in the sense that they were also, besides New 52, they also probably tried to go with the early Teen Titans run Cyborg who didn't have it yet, and then would adapt it as it goes.
No, which is fine, but that would have been from the writer. But from Ray's point of view, he has hated the line. That's my argument. It's my issue there. I don't think Ray even knew about all this history of Ray never came off as a comic book fan. He does not come off like one of the actors involved who was a big diehard comic fan. Have you ever seen that at anything talking with Ray? That he came off like he was a comic book fan, that he really wanted to be Cyborg?
No, he wasn't one of. He was more of
an actor.
Well, he was a theater actor who Snyder probably was one of, like with Ezra Miller. Sometimes that Zack Snyder saw the actor performing something, and he thought, okay, my vision is to use this actor to play this role.
And I think that's the issue. He had no idea, and he decided to just make a bad judgment call based off of just assumptions. And you having the fans who are not taking that into account and just think, oh yeah, he had every right. Basically, my point is
that's a bad sign on those people also. But could have actually been something like could have probably down the line he could have come to accept it. But if it was forced onto him under bad circumstances.
But Jeff did tell him, no, it was a line from the cartoon, and he still hated it. Or he said it's a line connected to the character, and he still hated it. That's a problem. That is not something that makes Ray look good. Yeah, if he's told this is connected to the character, you don't keep pitching. But answer was something Tavia asked. If Snyder's version of Justice League did come out and was a success, what do you think would do with DC Comics? What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
If the
would it have affected
like the 4 hours minus most of the excessive version of it.
But
if
would
it had been called into like 3 hours.
Now, do you think it would have affected the comics, though? I think this is why I think a lot of the writers, a lot of comic writers have spoken out not that much in favor of the Snyderverse. I think most of them were terrified that it was going to eventually lead to synergy. You want to bet? If Justice League had continued, if the Snyderverse had continued, and if it was massive hit after massive hit, I'm positive a lot of writers were terrified this would have led to synergy. Oh, DC in the movies. They would have finished it. They would have finished the saga.
If they released the whole plan of movies that they were going to make from 2013 to 2020. So if it would,
I don't think it would have gone that far.
Maybe not, but if at the very least they could have probably done those at least the Justice League sequels. No, maybe not the Cyborg movie and Green Lantern movie. But maybe again, but again, Ben Affleck's Batman movie is a question mark status.
I still stand by this, though. My viewpoint on this: if they had ended it and then started completely fresh, all new actors, then that meant that the individual movie the other directors were working on would have been 1 or 2 parters, and they wouldn't be able to do more.
I think they would have been spin-offs.
No, but when Justice League 3 came out, it would have ended the entire universe. It would have brought finality to everything, which means then they'd have to start all over again from scratch.
Technically speaking, as far as I understand it, was that they wanted to they started with Superman and have the whole thing go around Superman. And the supporting cast with the Justice League characters would have been they give them standalone spin-offs. Like Wonder Woman would have been a standalone spin-off, Aquaman would have been a standalone spin-off, Flash would have been a standalone spin-off, and Batman would have been standalone.
Oh no, and I get that. But then Justice League 3 would have ended the entire universe.
Or it would have set up some status quo, and then they would have.
Who would have been left?
If we go by with Ye Oliva said it, then there would have been a Flashpoint movie.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. And that meant new cast. Oh, by the way, different topic. Would you agree that these extreme Snyder fans or the cultists are going too far when they're trying to say, "Oh, Gunn is taking credit for Joker, for the Superman, the Christopher Reeve documentary because DC Studios put on it"? Like, guys, how are you any different from claiming Zack was the real driving force behind Aquaman and Wonder Woman? Because they've done that, right?
I think there's some of the difference of
one is just a guy who's the head of the studio who's pushing and supporting it.
Yeah. Okay. Gunn would have actually just gotten the pick of when they were done and just people in charge with them as they were.
He's not taking credit
at the 11th hour. That's not that. But with Snyder, is mostly that he cast the actors and set up their stories to be told as they are.
But they still say their individual movies. Gunn was behind it all. He didn't direct it, but Gunn deserves all the credit. It's like you're taking away. They want to take it from Wan and Jenkins because they feel Gunn is that much better than them. It's like, by that logic, what about Gunn? Because again, these guys always forgetting Gunn has been giving support. Not Gunn. Snyder has been giving support to Gunn. They ignore that constantly. If you know that, there's so many times
it goes against the cultist propaganda, similar to how the other stuff also with Gunn being positive towards Snyder goes against the other sect of the cult's propaganda.
I got this. TV has a good point here. I think in creative concept, it's not bad, but from a financial point of view, that whole we're going to constantly relaunch things with new cats and everything. Even at their best, I don't think WB would have allowed that.
No, that would have cost even more money than making a sequel to a non-part movie. If they make a movie and it bombs, they starting over, that would cost even more because they need to hire new actors and writers and everything else. Tell a different version of it that fails. Okay, let's try again, and then
exactly.
That's just a way.
That's the other thing I have to say is people keep on saying they should have let him finish his story. Would they have let him finish his story in the first place? The way he originally wanted it? I don't think so.
Depends on how much they had changed it, because when the Snyder Cut came out, they released those whiteboards that told the one version of how the story would have gone. But when the Snyder Cut came out, it pretty much disproved what was set up there.
Yeah, exactly. So,
like, Lois was already pregnant, so Bruce couldn't make her get pregnant, and it's something that I also like to say. It was the bathtub incident in BVS. That's where the whole thing.
That had to be. That's the only, unless it was somewhere off screen. But if you're going by what's on screen, that's the only spot.
Hey.
But
they would have changed it. Maybe the baby would have actually been born already, and Darkseid would have killed them both.
Oh, that would have been tough. But still, it's that I still don't get that. Some of these, when Zack brings up some of these original plans, you didn't have the fan base saying, "Why didn't they go with it? Oh, this would have been phenomenal." When it's like, there's a reason they dropped it. He's just telling people what plans were. That's fine. But then you have the extremists saying, "Oh, that would have been awesome. They were wrong to not go with his creative genius." When it's like,
and then the other side of the cult is
the
old plans that have been disproven to not be in the cards anymore.
Now, him going on about the original Wonder Woman idea, I'm sorry. I am glad they did not go that route. I get what he was going with.
Crimean War and being set in the 1800s. Yeah, that would have been
and her having multiple lovers and everything.
No, work with Becca in the Gods and Monsters, but
no. That bad idea. That's the case where I'm saying I'm glad they didn't go that route. But it's and then the Kryptonians being the gods. What?
Assassin's Creed did it.
What?
Oh, you could. I just realized the whole Assassin's Creed did it. The North, the Norse gods, Greek gods, and so on. Assassin's Creed made it so that they were the precursor race.
That's true, but still, though, it's just some of those ideas, and then again, I would say those and the people who are on the other extreme who say, "Oh, this is proof why we should have gotten rid of him." Let's not go that far. Just simply say, glad we didn't get that. That's as far as you need to go. You don't need to go and just say like, "Well, I'm glad we didn't get that." That's fine. Would you agree with that? Saying that?
Yeah,
but I'm saying this is
it better be that way.
Was...
Or there's also the kind of say that you can have some not so subtle implication that it could be or not be, but otherwise don't confirm anything.
Exactly.
If you want it to be like that, then make it so that it doesn't come across as a clearly confirmed fact.
Exactly. And unfortunately, when Zach brings it up, though, then Zach's bringing that headache around. That's the other downside is Zach knows his fan base. He does. You cannot tell me he doesn't.
Yeah, or he just knows one side of it and not the other side of it, or he focuses more. He wants to focus.
He downplays the extreme ones, thinking they're not that big when they are. I don't know. Is he weaponizing his fans? Some depends on his actions. Sometimes I think he does. Not always, but sometimes I think he does.
If he would be doing it, he is doing very subtly it.
Yeah, but it's when he's made
some of his... Or if we go by the some people saying that that there's some what was that Pointless Hub or some YouTube channel who just recently did a review on 300. He said that the best way to describe Snyder is as pure. Like there's not a thought going through that man's head, and whatever he just did is just take something funny and makes it look badass and doesn't think about other implications that someone else.
I can buy that. A lot of implications seem to imply that about him.
Yeah, like he doesn't actually focus on those other things that people just make up on their own and then accuse him of. That he just he learns about cool. At the same time as everyone else.
It's the whole reason why he does the whole puts everything through the Dark Knight filter because he thinks Dark Knight's cool.
Ew.
But there's a reason why people have made the joke. People have made the joke. BVS, it's Batman Wonder Woman. It's Aquabat. It's because everything feels so Batman-like about the characters. And they're not wrong.
Also, yes. When I actually been looking at this while I was writing the story commentary and think about it, that there's a tragedy in there.
Oh, yeah.
And the way how I have been trying to look at it, how BVS did it, is that the tragedy that was in The Dark Knight Returns, Snyder more or less flipped it to the other way.
That's true.
So that it started with where Batman was at the end, at the extreme end with Batman having taken over as the dominant personality, and then as it went back towards the end, Superman saved him, and Superman basically was watching the Zorro movie again and brought Bruce Wayne back.
Which that's fine, you know what I mean, and. I feel the execution could have been better. This is a case where a lot of the ideas were sound. They were.
And that it's another thing is that where the narration could have helped with the inner monologue, showing what the characters were thinking. That's actually not even the Dark Knight thing, but it's mostly the Superman Batman comic series from the early 2000s. Where they had dialogue
with Jeff Loeb.
With Jeff Loeb did. That should have been a norm with
that was great. That's why I love bets about that. Yeah. It tells you how much they two respect each other. They may disagree with each other, but they have such high respect for each other, and they make that very clear.
Yes, and I don't know if the way how it should have been needed to be done would have been like with clear restraint, not like clear narration, but something that when their thoughts are heard in reacting to something, And okay, it's something that the actor's performance can bring forward, but just hearing about like if their face is not shown and they're looking at something, but frame with that, so they're looking at.
Oh yeah, you could just put the voiceover right there.
Yeah,
the narration voice. Yeah, but I also say this: the one problem with Zach is that, and the writers, is that they just go with what would tell a good big movie. They don't sometimes go as much intricate some of the comics. Prime example, Mike Garland put it best. Yes, and when what they did when Superman killed, he knows they would never do that in the comics, no matter what. Even if they said they were going to deal with the aftermath of him killing Zod, they would never have gone the full deal that Exile did.
There could have been something if they had the original plans before it turned into a Batman movie. If they had to do that whatever Brainiac sequel before or between, there could have been something. Maybe not as much as with the Exile, but maybe something.
But Carlin felt he's interacted with the guys. He felt like no, they had no interest in telling that story. And I more likely believe him when you look at how Zach wrote things or how handled things. He would have had no interest in dealing with how Superman, in his eyes, Superman killed. He let out that yell. Boom, moving forward. I think that's how Zach felt. Zach felt he let out that cry of anguish, but he's not going to care. Look at how he feels about Batman killing. You put him in that situation, he makes the choice. Zach doesn't like to go any further than that.
The way how Batman was killing in the movie was, I think the only few actually instances because
no, I'm talking about Zach's statement.
You know what? I have plans to redo those 3 parts of my 5-movie review of BVS because those got copyright claimed and to do some better quality versions of those videos at some point in the future.
Oh, yeah.
But the way how I looked at it, there were only few instances when he actually killed.
Oh no!
There was like with the Batmobile chase, there was just that.
It's arguable.
It's arguable, but when you also acknowledge the actors being reused and those probably been the same character, there was the one when it was shot back and forth with the Batmobile. Those did definitely when he shot back a responding fire. Those people definitely either died. Even when Snyder did the whole watch along with the movie back before Snyder Cut came out and commented, those guys are okay, by the way.
No, I don't buy it.
Yeah, no.
And then of course,
I remember commenting about it that it was one shot the entire scene where the Batmobile drove through the car. I remember watching it multiple times, trying to see what happens to their bodies, then they mostly just disappear. Basically, they become isekai protagonists in some other world, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other casualties are in the Batmobile chase are when, well, one of them the driver doesn't keep his eyes on the road and crashes. That's not Batman's fault. But then the other death is when the Batmobile comes through the roof and goes with the truck like this.
Yeah,
that would have been a legitimate accident unless the car has the tire has a camera and a kill.
He would have known.
Yeah, he wouldn't have known. That would have been some accident.
Yeah, so but then
that's
KGB
two deaths in the Batmobile chase, and then with the warehouse fight, there's the estimation of when the Batplane has there's a truck with the turrets, anti-air weapons that could shoot the Batplane down. He actually, not even that is something that should be criticized. The whole thing that why is the Batplane so damn loud?
Agreed.
Like it should be a stealth.
It should be, yeah. Unless
it should be silent. No one.
I can see Batman turning on and off when it has sound, and he could have been doing that to get the startle effect.
Okay, intimidation pay. But then there's the whole thing. He comes to with the strafing fire. There's some small window of few seconds when the Russian mercs they either take their chances and shoot, or they take their chances and get out of the line of fire. That's either or. Like Batman gave them a chance, and they didn't take it.
You can argue that, but Batman still wouldn't have done it. He would have had an alternative.
But either way, he had to get rid of the anti-air weapons so that
and I get that, but my point is though, I'm judging based off of what Zach's statement. Remember, we've talked about this before. Remember the whole put him in that situation.
Yeah, put in a situation where he has to kill. Yeah,
but again, it's like Zach just the other way. You put him in a situation, and his answer is, and they do it. That's it. You just move on. Because he's never talked about what you do after, what happens after the kill. Have you ever noticed that? Because he doesn't care.
Yeah, that could be in the sense of like pure, not a thought going through his head and just making.
And that's what my argument is.
That makes sense in that sense.
That's why I don't buy the fact that he would have focused on Superman killing. I don't buy it. He basically he let out that big yell. That's it. He got over it.
Based on how he was talking with. Not yet revealed to be a Martian Manhunter in the following scene, he still looked like he was still carrying some, based on Henry Cavill's performance, that he was still carrying some sorrows and hurt.
No, that could have been Cavill's own additions, though. We don't know if that was Zach or if that was Cavill's own choice.
Depends on how the scenes were filmed.
Exactly. But again, I'm not saying that it wasn't Zach's idea. I'm not saying that. I'm just judging though based off of the talks Zach has had and some other examples. I don't buy it. Oh, I think Zach once said he liked reading heavy metal magazine
when he was that younger.
Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah, when he was that younger, in that sense, it was a
again, it's just like, well, Goya was only involved with Man of Steel, and. Let's be honest, Goyer is not someone you always want to praise everything. Granted, he was great with JSA, but basically Goyer needs other people involved. If you ever noticed that, he needs other people involved to watch him.
It would be interesting. What was the original draft of BVS before they had Chris Terrio come to overwrite?
Was there one? I thought he actually wrote it the first draft.
Yeah. So if Goyer had some first draft of it, and then Goyer wrote after it.
I'll be honest, I had such high hopes when I heard that he was involved because I loved Argo. I had such high hopes. Even with the ultimate cut for BVS, it's still not the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, it's flawed spectacle, as I remember saying it in my review.
Very much so. It is very much a flawed spectacle. And again, there's stuff I like. Is it one of the worst comic book movies? No. Neither is the Snyder Cut of Justice League. But I'm not going to say it's one of the greatest superhero movies of all time either. I'm sorry. Avengers Endgame is still the better movie.
Say so.
You know what I mean? But where do you stand on? Do you agree or not? I'm not going to argue. I just want to know, where do you stand?
I never saw it.
Oh, okay. What Avengers movies have you seen?
The first two.
Okay,
and you could count Civil War 2 because that was pretty much 2.5 or 3.
Pretty much. But I gotta say, most of those are still better than even Snyder Cut.
Well, that also,
as far as comic book movies is what I'm saying.
As comic book movies, the Snyder Cut should mostly be just compared to the first Avengers movie, not the sequels. Most of those movies are it's basically a movie of putting the team together. The later movies, they already have the established team together and moving forward.
I still prefer Avengers over it because I feel I get DC's what to be about the gods. I get that. But it feels like they went too Lord of the Rings-esque. You know what I mean? That's my big problem. They went too Lord of the Rings-esque with the Snyder Cut.
I think that's mostly on how many characters you have, and those characters having their own mythologies, and you have to build on them.
That's true.
The whole Atlantean mythology, the Amazonian mythology, and whatever was left of Krypton to still have on the table. The physics and the dimensional thing with Flash, and Cyborg having ties to.
I agree with this. People need to realize not every movie is perfection. Agreed.
Yeah. You can notice the flaws and either
you gotta acknowledge the flaws.
Obsessively focus on them or just acknowledge them and then balance them out with the good stuff in.
Now I think here's the other problem. Here's the other problem. I think Zach focused too much on these heroes are gods, when the whole point of DC is they're gods who aren't being gods, they're being heroes down on close to our level.
At the very least, I like to think that at least when with how Cavill was directed to act, there was still some humanity in there.
Oh yes,
it was a god who had this still had humanity and was driven by that humanity.
oh, and I agree with that.
Kind of same with Aquaman and with man. Arthur was literally also like child of two worlds similarly, and was still had his own upbringing and that. So how he went through. Wonder Woman was, well, she had a century's worth of knowledge on the man's world as having lived there. So
yeah,
that probably just somewhat, depending on how many times she had to distance herself from people she was.
I'm not saying how he wrote the characters. I'm saying how the action, how the overall handling of the characters, not them as individuals, but the overall handling of them was gods being gods. And that's something that I think Zach has mentioned. That's how he sees these heroes. They're gods. And it's like, but you're only getting half of what makes DC special. Because would you agree? DC characters,
I think that is where those standalone spin-offs would have come from.
Oh, yeah.
With how Wonder Woman was set off to be in her movie, how Aquaman was set up to be in his movie.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever Flash would have been in the original version that was supposed to come out in 2018.
Right.
And Batman movie was probably somewhat also. I think Batman's I want to believe that Batfleck's movie was so somehow have him deal with the fallout of his actions in BVS.
I would
at least with the mentally or with Deathstroke coming after him.
I like to think that, but like I said, you get my argument though, right? When you look at the overall handling of it, and and unfortunately though, that's why you have so many of the extreme fans and the cultists look at it, they can't take anything else. Because in their eyes, that's how these characters should be. They should be gods and nothing but gods. They should only fight other gods.
No, I don't know how much of that would have been just parroting the others that they are with, because
I get that.
I even noticed that I was actually never properly even able to connect with those other people when I joined Twitter and try to somewhat connect with those circles and comment my own views on it there.
I understand that. And look, my whole point, I'm just saying that when you look at how these people, and like they become this echo chamber of, again, like Superman should only go against Darkseid. He shouldn't go against anything else. That's why I'm kind of hoping we're going to.
That's too much of an extreme that I don't know who came up with it.
And I hate that mindset. It's like.
But at the very least, I think that it was also something that at least was built up to with going from a Zod to Batman and the Doomsday Clone, then to Steppenwolf and Darkseid would have been then.
But that's still two giant leaps. Too much of a giant leap, if you ask me.
Yeah.
They basically didn't make lesser.
Wouldn't there have been the whatever Injustice gang in the middle with Lex Luthor having also Riddler and Chit or Dr. Poison and Ocean Master and Black Manta were there was some the Blackboards they said.
But then the Blackboards kind of downplayed their importance, that they weren't going to ever be the main threat, just villains who end up helping Darkseid by the end.
Yeah, it would have probably gone with the Rock of Ages, but they would have been actually the opposing force that led to Darkseid taking over and leading to the Nightmare timeline.
Again, I feel like that's the problem with the Snyderverse. It's going too much into the big stories right off the bat. Not even the MCU did that.
Yeah, well, that would have been with Snyder's movies, and then those spin-off standalones would have been the breathers in the middle.
But again, but they shouldn't have initiated that at all. That's why my problem still stands. Zod being the first villain was a bad idea in the long run.
Yeah, in the long run, it was I don't know how it was in the how.
On the Reeves
Nolan
movie,
and Goyer had originally written it, and then actually there was some reports also that before Snyder they probably asked someone else who couldn't do it.
Right, but again, there's just so much of it. I have to wonder also how much of the destruction at the end was Zach's idea.
No, but mostly the only one who it was Goyer has been the one who's speaking more of it.
That's true, but like I said, again, I do not hold anything against the movies entirely. I'm being critical about them, and I'm more critical of people who take it as gospel, who take it as the end all be all, and those whose opinions have been kind of, I don't want to say tainted, but have been influenced by these movies to the point where they can't judge anything else. That's where I have a big problem. When this becomes the definitive take on characters.
Yeah,
some people.
Those people actually have also been talking down on the fact that, again, mostly because I don't have Netflix anymore, I haven't been able to watch Twilight of the Gods on how that has been. But some people have been bringing up the fact that they could just do those later movies in animated form.
Oh, I still think they could.
And they have also have some fans and maybe some cultists too talking about no, it has to be live action and the animation could be a compromise.
And I know Jared falls under any form. He'll take any form.
Yeah, from comics to animation at this point.
Which I applaud him for that. But again, you have some. Again, I just wanted to get this out of my system because it just feels like seeing the idiocy. Like I am looking forward to what Gunn is doing. I really am. It looks like
sooner that trailer comes out and shows what the other what all the characters.
Remember, Gunn does great trailers. Name me a bad Gunn trailer.
How many of those have I even seen?
Yeah, look at Guardians of the Galaxy. Look at even the Suicide Squad trailer looked good.
Maybe it looked funny enough. I only watched it once before that it was coming out. I think I saw. It was. What about?
I cannot really name a bad Gunn trailer. At least of his superhero stuff. You know what I mean? Because those trailers always at least make it clear what we're going to expect. And like I said, I really do. I think this is going to be good. Now, here's the big question: do you really think we're going to have Ultraman, but it's really like Superior Man from Red Sun, or do you think there's more to it than that?
Would probably make more sense if it's Ulysses.
Ulysses, because again, the whole Ultraman Ulysses stuff is rumors. We don't even know for sure.
No, but Cole has rumoring and having a villain with a O doesn't. If Ultraman, it doesn't make sense unless it's an other world version.
Now, I would say that
Bizarro would make more sense, but that wouldn't make. Superior Man is also like a placeholder or a better original name than Superman 2 as it was in Red Sun.
But I would say this. I do think it's going to be, if it is Ultraman, I'm pretty sure we'd eventually have the real Ultraman one day show up in a future movie and be like, what was this you did? No, I do not see Zach and James as being the type of saying, well, we just used it. We can't use him again. I don't see that.
Oh.
But yeah, still though.
And even if it's an enforcer that they just nap from an alternate universe, that would be like.
I still think Solaris is going to be involved.
Yeah.
You do not put that in that little reveal thing and not have it be dead, because that looked like Solaris, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Solaris would be a great villain. I'm surprised. I'm still surprised that the fact that a lot of these people say, "Oh, she'll only be Darkseid" and all that stuff. It's like Solaris is on par with Darkseid level threats.
Yeah.
He is. He's a sentient sun. You know what I mean? The fact it took
sun that doesn't empower Superman.
Exactly, and he was a dangerous threat even by DC 1 million.
Yeah,
and
the power of being a time paradox.
Yep. Oh boy. Yep. But yeah, you had that. You had, and of course, All-Star Superman.
Yeah, I need to. I want to cover that one before the movie
Too
comes
bad,
out.
right? You and I can do a general talk on that eventually.
Yeah.
But boy, and that was an interesting one. And I will say this: there's one thing I can tell you that the movie did way better than the books, and even Morrison admits it. Redemption of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Branches had to be, there was no redemption. But once he saw what McDuffie did, he even admits, why didn't I think of that?
Oh.
Like, he admits it.
And Bizarro World was also cut.
Oh, but that was for timing. If you were to cut anything,
Yeah.
Bizarre World would have
been. I have always looked at. I have some original Finnish version of it, and okay, it's.
I got the absolute edition.
Oh yeah, I also bought a actual version that's somewhere over there. When I saw it in stores, I thought, okay, better have it so that I can eventually.
Right, but that movie is one of those better one. It's like it's a Wonder One was just trimming out stuff that would have been too long. With some of the tweaks, you know what I mean? Like I said, but that ending, Lex actually realizing and being redeemed. I prefer that to just Superman punching him out and he's just back in jail again.
Oh.
Because it just feels like, why? Why would he ignore it? You have him come to tears, and yet he's still like, oh, I'm going to still take you out. I was like, no. It felt like Morrison was building up to redemption and just chickened out. Didn't it feel that way?
Yeah. Maybe I need to reread it. Well, I'll reread it when I eventually start working on it.
Right, and of course, you know, I can do another.
At some point after, maybe after I get the Dark Knight Returns done, and then the Wonder Woman done, and maybe then I'll switch to that, and then after I get that done, then I'll do Long Halloween.
Yep, but you know, I just realized since that Wonder Woman does have adaptation, you kind of realize absolutely none of the anime movies are pure originals. When you really think about it.
Yeah. Like
Man of Tomorrow, American Alien, and Secret Origins.
Yeah, more or less kind of. Okay, it used those as the base of it, and then added Martian Manhunter and Parasite. Actually, I think Parasite came from Earth 1.
Earth 1, sorry, yeah, it was Earth 1, Secret Origins, and American Alien.
Yeah,
and they just added in.
Some of those actually are such a mix match that, for example, the whole Batman vs Robin movie. I have been wondering if I should go over the Born to Kill and the Court of Owls as to get together, or just make it as a movie, reviewed as a movie on its own.
That's hard. That is hard. But you realize though, none of these have been pure original. Even Apocalypse War, you could say, is a bit of Dark Side War in it.
Yeah, Dark Side War and Future's End and what was the Batman Bad Blood actually is basically the tail end of Morrison's run with Batman RAP, Battle for the Cowl, and Batman Incorporated.
Yeah. And even with the Green Lantern, Beware My Power.
That is, but they pretty much just, as far as I'm aware, they took Kyle out, switched John in his place, and did Emerald Twilight.
To answer your question, Tavia, I think it's fine. Now, so long as there's still going to be other, like he said, and he said they are, so long as there's going to still be other non-Gunverse related stuff.
Yeah, the whole video game stuff is because how long does it take to make video game?
Well, that's the issue. That's the issue.
Yeah, and it's not like we're in the.
Which makes you wonder is that
PlayStation 2 era we had we had the Batman Begins game, the movie tie-in game,
and then we could have had a Dark Knight game, and then it got canceled. Now, here's the question though: do you think that could be part of the reason why, more than just because of the money reason? Do you think that could be also part of the other reason why they're broadening, their IPs to other studios?
Hopefully,
because that'll ensure that they can get stuff done for the movies.
Yeah, because the animation also Invincible already made fun of it, how animation takes time. And
I was making fun of comics doing the shortcuts.
yeah,
I love that bit. I love that bit. How they make fun of taking shortcuts.
With the video game stuff, if Flash player still worked, maybe those could be some Flash games or Cosmic Chaos that they did that Tristan streamed at one point. Or that
the
kind of game.
The Watchmen game.
Oh, yeah, that was also a thing.
Yeah, the 2-part game that was a beat 'em up and everything.
Yeah.
Turns out there was an even more in-depth version that never got off the ground. I'll link you to that. Hold on.
I remember I had it on PlayStation 3, the Watchmen game at some point. It was the first story that led to something. And then there was the other one where you had to fight.
Both of those you fought. Both of them you were fighting and all that.
Yeah, but with the other story that was in the game also, it was basically if you play as one character, you have to fight the other one as the final boss.
I think it was yeah. But that doesn't show the breakup of Rorschach and Night Owl.
Yeah.
Hold on, here you go. Well, oh wait, let me actually hate when that happens. Okay, here we go. Just sent it to you on Twitter. This was the game that was originally supposed to be made, but it fell through. But yeah, like I said though, connect them all so long as there's still going to be options for other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so long as there's still going to be non-Gunverse stuff, which Gunn has said, he's not saying that they're all going to be, which is why I still feel the Crisis on Infinite Earths movie jumped the gun, assuming that. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, from what we heard, it was the.
They just reacted because they thought we're never going to get another one again. It's like, no, you still will.
Yeah, this is why communications is.
But still, for a grand finale, the fact I got to go over both because the fact is technically those two universes count as one big epic. And I'd love to go over all of those at one point. But watching all of them is going to be a slog. Because
it's going to be hard because even for myself, it's hard for me also today these days to sit down and just watch something if I'm not doing something else while doing it.
Well,
like for example, like I finished the Nier Automata World 1.1a while I was editing the Dark Knight Returns video, how it ended, and that was something I would not have just been able to sit down and watch while if I wasn't doing that. And then some things I have been, if I have to react to something, record myself watching it so that I can eventually do a review on it and then just show how I reacted to something. And actually, when it came down to the Nier anime, it was the way how Pascal dies in that one. That was.
Oh, by the way, there's now, and Blinkul is considering maybe a new Zatanna ongoing might be happening because get this, her Black Label book has been in the top 10 consistently.
Good.
And it's a good book. Yeah, Zatanna is, that's a very good book. It's a Black Label still, but bring down the house.
Yeah.
And yeah, but still, so I've been mostly doing a lot of the talking. So I just want to ask, what is your overall stance on, say, now I know you're trepidatious about Gunn, but the ideas, the stuff that people, again, on the Snyder side might complain about, what's your stance? Like some of the stuff like crypto, the Justice League. Now, let's just assume what Gunn said, they're going to be involved, but they're not going to take away from the main bulk of the story. Is that one? Do you believe him? And two, do you think that's still a good idea to try and build the universe on this movie?
I want to still have those low expectations, so that when it comes out, I won't get disappointed if it's subpar, and so that if it's better than average, then I can have my mind blown on it. And again, when eventually the trailer comes out, let's hope that it makes instead of breaks the whole thing or aspect of how it's coming out, and it gives people in general some new stuff to point out, speculate, and focus on, so that they will focus on something old and overhype something old to the point that they don't like it anymore. And with the Justice League,
we don't know the full story, to be fair.
Yeah, we don't know the full story. That's another thing that trailer and eventually the movie itself can set up and explain.
Do we know it's
Crypto,
the Max Lord?
On the other hand, they haven't shown Crypto exactly. They hinted at it with how Alan Tudyk is voicing in a secret role. He voiced the chicken in Moana, so.
Now that, but you also have those behind the scenes shots that's clearly showing like holding a dog treat at something.
Yeah, or maybe, but still, it's something that as long as there is not too much also in there, like there's the whole thing that also that they said they criticize Snyder for doing too much, and even if there's good, there can still be too much of a good thing,
right? Like, can I give you my theory here? I think that Crypto's just going to exist. He's just going to exist. He's going to show up, help out, and then be around. The Justice League, I think it's going to be a case where, here's my theory. Max Lord is corporatizing this Justice League. We do not have a proper Justice League yet, just this corporate one. And eventually, through the event of Superman interacting with them, they realize, we don't want to be around you, Max. We're leaving. I think that's the subplot of that. It sets the groundwork for eventually what will lead up to with the authority and everything. I think that's the point is the Superman just not even making them, just by being an inspiration, brings down Max's corporate Justice League. What do you think?
That could work if it's done. I don't think that's the main plot. The way I said about the Cape Crusader using Robins, I hope we have that's a good imagination how it can go. So let's hope that Gunn and everyone else working on it share that imagination and execute it that way.
True. Now I'm just hoping we get Guardians of the Galaxy 3 Gunn with this writing. Emotional moments and everything. I really hope we do, because I'll be honest, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is still one of those movies that can make me cry with Yondu's death. He wasn't your daddy, boy. I'm your daddy. He might have been your papa, but he ain't your daddy.
Yeah.
But now here's the other big thing I got to ask. Last question. We're going to wrap up. The Authority. Which version do you think we're going to get? Warren Ellis's or Mark Millar's? That is the real question, because those are two radically different. Because I'm guessing Warren Ellis.
The first one, because that was still set up with the original vision and not the as it was the
parody.
Yeah.
No,
something that one that eventually that's doubling down and then led to the creation of the Elite.
Yeah, because that's
like
what that
Elite
was.
They could have it so that the original Authority that could have on its own. Elite could be like an inspiration of it in the similar vein of the second Authority, and then Superman going into conflict with them. That could then have the whole Elite done.
Because Ellis's Authority were not bad people. They were just dealing with the bigger threats and everything. And yes, they took over the world because they thought they knew what was best, but they didn't relish in it. Millar's Authority, which ended up becoming the bigger hit, relished in it. And that's why you have people saying, yeah, why can't Superman be more like this? Because they were relishing in it. Have you ever read much about that version of the Authority?
Not much, just most. Maybe a little. I think I started looked it up at some point and started to try reading through, but I got distracted. Okay, so Yeah. Uh-huh.
Contains both.
Uh-huh.
Contains both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I think I started to read some form of it. It was either that or some unrelated or somewhat connected spin-off with Midnight and then I maybe got distracted with something that and stopped.
Yeah,
or
but
came to some point where it.
We can go over this at some point.
Okay.
So there's a lot you and I could go over, of course, but I think given what us going over that, whatever happened and what's so funny? What's so funny? I think this would be an interesting one then to go over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just curious on that though, because I do prefer the Ellis Authority. They're the much more faithful one, and they're the ones who were actually good people and not again, let's just indulge in everything. Let's have this Captain America pastiche rape Apollo. And then that way you have Midnighter then really hardcore rape this guy back. I'm not kidding. That happens in the first Millar arc.
Ugh.
This was
that
Millar.
Sounds something that sounds maybe something that I don't know which one that goes that makes me think more of whatever that something Ellis actually did when he was writing The Boys, or with whatever Alan Moore did when he did the Hyde and Invisible Man.
Hey, this is Millar around. This is the same Millar that eventually would do Nemesis. Remember that?
Yeah.
Now he eventually would mellow out, thankfully.
Mm.
And oh boy, I've been going over Kick-Ass with Steph and Docs. We just recorded Hit Girl and Kick-Ass 2. And Hit Girl was definitely the better one which came out afterward. But yeah,
sorry, Tevi, I got the
mixed
up with this because of the similar names.
Yeah, no, yeah, Warren Ellis, yeah, but like I said though, but Hit Girl definitely you could tell was influenced by the more upbeat nature of the movie. And by the way, you are aware of the changes the movie made, right?
Yes, I am.
Especially with
I remember I did see the movie first. Then I went to the comic
Big Daddy
stuff. And then so much different than not Nicolas Cage, not a former cop, not in a Batman looking costume.
But the movie was better.
Yeah, the movie was better in that sense, and the comic
but I would say this but there was one thing that was lost. The stuff with Mindy and her mom afterwards in the comics. It was a tragedy to lose, but you knew you had to lose it because the audience would never, ever accept Big Daddy BSing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
They would never accept the fact that, oh no, we just needed a bad guy. I put my daughter through all this stuff because I just want to give her a cool life.
Yeah, that would have.
You would have lost your audience.
So much sympathy.
You would have lost your entire audience. Having it keep playing it straight, saying, "Oh yeah, he was a cop that got screwed over and he wanted revenge." Perfectly fine. People can accept that. They can accept him doing that to his daughter because of that. You make it be he was just an accountant who just felt everyone hated him and he just wanted to give his daughter a cool life. Nope, that's always going to taint the character. Yeah. And then having Dave continue through until the end of the movie, the whole, oh, I'm the girl I crush on's gay best friend.
Yeah.
And then only reveal afterwards to her in the middle of the school, and then she tells him off. And at least in the movie, he confronts her privately and says, I'm kick-ass and I'm not gay.
Yeah. At least,
way better.
Yeah, some things are better to be told. Okay, it depends on what actually is. Like, if it's something private, you don't want to make a big number out of. That's something you want to have.
You're dropping both secrets on her.
Yeah.
So it kind of softens the blow on the whole, I'm not gay.
Yeah.
You just simply say, oh, I wasn't gay. Can we be together? Dude!
Oh.
And I'm sorry. Dave in the comics is one of the worst protagonists. At least he gets better partway through Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah.
Of course, let's be honest, everyone cares more about Hit Girl.
Yeah,
Everyone
breakout
adores
character who was shown just enough to build interest, and then cash on with that interest in going forward.
And in fact, the interesting thing is the comics did, and when it came to Kick-Ass 2, the comics were better. For the most part. There was a few moments that the movie did better, but there was one thing the comic definitely did better, was Mindy dealing with that alpha bitch. Because in the comic, she dangled her upside down, over a building, cut the line, but had her fall into a moving trash car, a garbage truck, and then said, "Next time you do anything, we might come here sooner in the day." That's fine. That's typical Hit Girl. What did he do in the movie? Hits her with a sick stick that makes her both puke and shit.
Oh.
And we see it.
Oh.
What the hell? I'm sorry. That is when the comic does it better.
Oh.
Because I'll be honest, that's a better resolution, wouldn't you say? Dangle her upside down and dropping her into a moving garbage truck, and then saying, "You keep at it, and we're going to be the best of friends, and you're going to leave people alone. Or I might bring you back here before that truck shows up." That's a better resolution than a sick stick.
Yeah, based on that.
Okay, but
what is the budgetary issue that they couldn't do?
Let me check.
Do the other thing.
No way in hell were they going to ever shoot the climax in Times Square. No way in hell.
Yeah. It's cheaper to just do it in some
in a warehouse. Which there was a warehouse setting in the books, though, so they moved it there. But yeah, even with an Avengers budget, you wouldn't be able to shoot that big of a fight in Times Square. No way in hell.
Yeah.
And I'm checking the budgets. The budget for the first one was 30 million. And the second one, 28 million. No way.
Now, small scale actually is something that it forces you, it brings out whatever creativeness the directors have, and actually enforcing them to use what they have instead of just buying.
Which I applaud that.
CGI.
I do applaud that, and like I said, was now in the movie they implied because she was a bit older by that point. Oh, Hit Girl has a thing for Kick-Ass. It's like, like he's how much older than you at a younger level? No.
I think they tried to somewhat make it so that he's a senior or a soon-to-be graduating senior, and she's just joining high school. But even then, that's
and he knew her when she was younger.
Even the whole his age divided by 2 + 7 doesn't work there. That's too young.
In the books, though, but in the books, it even works because she's still around 11 or 12.
Not to mention that.
Now, granted, they don't
Transformers 4 before Transformers 4.
Now, to be fair, they don't do anything with a relationship in the book. That was purely a movie thing.
Yeah, maybe it's something that because the actress has had an age up between the movies and was somewhat.
And it kind of fits with the character a little bit in it, where she's like, Kick-Ass is her only true friend. She's starting to have the hormones kick in. So when she sees them changing, she's like, "Ooh, look at his back."
It can be done like one-sided, but to be
fair, we don't see
should have been like gently reject her.
Well, to be fair, we didn't get anything like that until the very end when she kissed him, and he just simply said, "What was that? Our first kiss." We don't get much then after that, but that was at the very end.
Okay, better than what Transformers 4 did.
Oh, I don't even remember. I probably blocked that out.
Okay, good. I recently saw that the channel I brought up, the Pointless Hub, had reviewed all the Transformers movies. I had just recently saw them. He brought them up.
Right, but still, it was still okay. let's start wrapping up now. I think
Yeah.
we're gonna keep going on and on at this rate, and I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
getting late on your end.
You almost 9.
Almost 9. That's what I thought. So, oh, the crossover event. Oh, big game. Overall, I liked it. By the end
Yeah.
of it,
Better than the other big game.
right? By the end of it, it was a better story that brought closure. I didn't like anything leading up to the final issue because it felt like, oh, they're killing off all the more lighthearted hero. But in the end, oh, the whole point was to then have Hit Girl undo it all. But one thing I'm not a fan of, they completely override Gary from Secret Service and replace him with Eggsy from Kingsman. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
for movie purposes, because the movie
Yeah, it's
was
like,
more known,
what?
and more popular.
Yeah, they just completely overrided him. And but I did like, yeah, Hit Girl saving the day, and the Hit Girl that was saving the day gets killed, but her other self is still around. Time traveling shenanigans.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did not mind it. It felt like it finally closed the door on the dark and edgy Millar.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, even Nemesis, the Nemesis reboot or reloaded, way better. Way better. Because I'm sorry, that was again an example of Millar just being edgy for edgy's sake, and then trying to subvert things for subversion's sake.
Yeah, so those stories are kind of like, if you try to think like when it comes to some villains' plans, you have the tendency to sometimes break them apart and understand how it went. If you're able to understand it, then you also kind of respect the author more on how much thought was put into it.
Don't set up that he's just the reversal of Batman, like, oh, a cop killed got results of my parents dying, I want revenge, and then say, oh, that's all crap. I'm just the rich guy who's bored.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's just like that. I gotta say, Millar did some worse subverting expectation than even Ryan Johnson ever did. You know what I mean? Because I always thought they just did it like, oh nope, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But
if you want to call it,
I do want to call it.
Yeah, Wraith, more of that sense, and then I think maybe Grant Morrison took also the whole rich and bored thing and applied it better with Black Glove.
Yes, definitely applied it way better. Boy, talk about sadly seeing a friendship deteriorate between Millar and Morrison. Those two cannot stand each other anymore. And it's funny enough, they started together. Or at least they worked very well together on Flash and a few other things. Aztec. They worked great on Aztec.
Oh.
That was the that they tried to make their own superhero, and then Morrison resolved it in JLA. But yeah, so that was our discussion. I think we had a lot more fun here, I think.
Like this, and went better.
Yep. We'll talk about this, Tavia. We'll talk about this. But yeah, thank you for joining me, Pika. Thank you, everyone else. And we'll see you on the next stream. Take care.
May your heart be your guiding key, and go check out my channel too.
Yep, check out his channel. Definitely. There's a link in the description, guys. There's a link in the description. Take care.